Nepal's Prime Minister holds meeting with Chief Ministers of all 7 provinces. Talks focused on federal-provincial coordination and development push. Nominations filed for chairs of 10 thematic and 2 joint House committees. RSP to support Congress for Public Accounts Committee leadership. Government launches 24-hour driving license printing service. 600,000 licenses already dispatched. Israel says dismantling Hezbollah is its top goal as rare direct talks with Lebanon begin. Fighting continues on the ground as well. Pakistani Prime Minister meets with Qatari Emir in Doha. Such comes as diplomatic efforts intensify ahead of possible second round of US-Iran peace talks. And Bayern Munich knocks Real Madrid out of Champions League in a quarter-final classic. Arsenal beats Sporting 1-0 on aggregate. Hello there, I'm Smita Gising Tamang and this is NTV World Primetime News coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Across the globe, it's 13:15 in London, 22:15 in Tokyo, and just after midnight in Sydney. The details now. Nepal's Prime Minister Balendra Shah has held discussions with the Chief Ministers of all 7 provinces, marking his first such meeting since assuming office. The talks focused on strengthening federal-provincial coordination, accelerating development and construction projects, ensuring equitable distribution of resources, and addressing various administrative and financial challenges faced by the provinces. Enhancing cooperation between the central government and provinces to effectively implement nationally prioritized projects also remained a key agenda. According to the Prime Minister's office, the meeting aimed to build a shared understanding on the country's current economic situation, infrastructure development, improvement in public service delivery, and the promotion of good governance. Rashtriya Swatantra Party RSP has decided to nominate its candidates for chairpersons of various parliamentary committees in the House of Representatives. A meeting of the party's parliamentary party held today selected Samiksha Baskota as its candidate for the Law, Justice and Human Rights Committee, Ashok Chaudhary for the Agriculture, Cooperatives and Natural Resources Committee, Ashish Gujral for the Infrastructure Development Committee, Akriti Awasthi for the Women and Social Affairs Committee, Hari Dakal for the State Affairs and Good Governance Committee, and Dr. Ojashvi Sherchan for the Education, Health and Information Technology Committee. The party has also decided to support the main opposition in securing the chairpersonship of the Public Accounts Committee, according to the party office. Similarly, Bodh Narayan Shrestha has been nominated for the Parliamentary Hearing Committee, Ganesh Karki for the Committee on Monitoring and Evaluation of the Implementation of Directive Principles, Policies and Obligations of the State, Sumnima Udas for the International Relations and Tourism Committee, Krishna Hari Budatoki for the Finance Committee, and Rahabar Ansari for the Industry, Commerce, Labour and Consumer Welfare Committee. In addition, the meeting appointed Ganesh Parajuli as Deputy Leader of the Parliamentary Party, Kabindra Burlakoti as Chief Whip, and Prakash Chandra Pariyar and Kranti Shikha Dital as Whips. Meanwhile, Rashtriya Swatantra Party has decided to support the Nepali Congress for the chairpersonship of the Public Accounts Committee. A meeting of the party's parliamentary party held today endorsed handing over the position to the main opposition party, Nepali Congress. In a significant departure in the existing mode of public service delivery, the citizens in Nepal's different districts began receiving service at their doorsteps, materializing the recent announcement of a revamp in governance reform. Essential documents like passport and driving license are dropped to service seekers' residences. It has relieved the service seekers from the compulsion of standing in line and running from one chamber to another of government offices. Director General at Department of Postal Services Manamaya Patrai said such service had already been launched as the test scheme in Myagdi, Makwanpur, Darildura districts. Minister for Communications and Information Technology Dr. Bikram Thimal Sinha has been forwarding the scheme with special focus. He has directed all subordinates to advance present campaign in a collaborative manner. As per the March 27 announcement of governance reform, the government is gradually enforcing the delivery of public service at citizens' doorsteps, like providing passport, citizenship certificate, license and other essential government documents. It is a plan to be materialized within 100 days of government formation in line with the reform agenda. It may seem surprising to service seekers who have waited up to 48 months for a single driving license card to hear that they can now receive it within 24 hours. Breaking through these astonishing old patterns, the government has started the work of printing licenses within 24 hours starting today and has already dispatched 600,000 of those printed licenses to the respective offices. Sabika Shrestha delves deeper.
The hassle of waiting years to receive a driving license, whether after passing the exam or paying the fees for renewal, is now coming to an end. Implementing a new system from mid-April, the government has announced that it will print and provide the service seeker's license within 24 hours of passing the exam and submitting the revenue. With this announcement, the compulsion to repeatedly peek through the windows of transport offices to ask, "Is my license ready?" after paying years ago is set to disappear. However, this facility is only for printing of new licenses.
12 लाख वटाको चाहिँ लगभग त्यो डेटा चाहिँ हामीले सुरक्षा मुद्रण केन्द्रमा पठाइ पनि सकेका छौं। उहाँबाट कति 5-6 लाख वटा कतिवटा पनि सायद प्रिन्ट भएर आइसकेको छ। र त्यो आइसकेको सरचालक अनुमति पत्रहरू ब्लक मार्फत सम्बन्धित कार्यालयमा हामीले पठाएका छौं। जस्तो यहाँनेरि चाहिँ जुम्लाको हामीले सकेका छौं, काभ्रे बनेपा भयो, सुर्खेत भयो, त्यसपछि पूर्वका कार्यालयहरुको हामी अलमोस्ट सकेका छौं। काठमाडौँ भित्रको पनि हामीले चाबहिल, ठुलो भड्याङका सकेका छौं। अनि त्यसपछि राधेको आज सबै सकेर हामीले सम्बन्धित कार्यालयमा पठाउने व्यवस्था गर्दै छौं।
The department stated that the process of printing licenses within 24 hours of paying revenue was initiated on April 15. The service will be as fast as the data is received from transport offices across the country. There is a plan to collect details from 42 transport offices nationwide every evening by 5 p.m. and send them to the Security Printing Center for print by 6 p.m. How fast the service remains will be determined by the coordination between the provincial transport offices and the federal department. Although it was mentioned that licenses would be delivered to the service seeker homes via post in the future, for now this service is being provided through the respective transport offices.
यो 2-4 हप्तामा चाहिँ घर-घरमा पुग्ने व्यवस्था नै भइदियो भने चाहिँ राम्रो हुन्थ्यो सर्वसाधारणलाई पनि। अहिले त अब हजुरको यो विगत 3-4 वर्षदेखिको नै पेन्डिङ छ लाइसेन्स हैन। पहिला त्यो आउनु पर्यो र त्यो आइसकेपछि चाहिँ अलि विश्वास हुन्छ कि जस्तो लाग्यो मलाई चाहिँ।
24 घण्टा भन्छ भित्र भनेको छ, अब हेरौं कस्तो के हुन्छ। त्यही बुझ्नलाई आएको म पनि यहाँ। अहिलेसम्म कार्तिकदेखि अहिलेसम्म पाइएको छैन।
On one hand is the government's announcement. Whether it remains just an announcement or is seen in practice remains to be seen. There is no certainty yet as to when the printing of the 1.7 million licenses piled up since July 2022 will begin.
हामी 1-2 दिन भित्र सुरक्षा मुद्रण केन्द्रसँग सम्झौता गरेर ती बाँकी 17 लाख वटा सरचालक अनुमति पत्रहरू पनि हामीले छपाई गर्ने प्रक्रियामा जान्छौं। तिनीहरु चाहिँ हामीले सम्बन्धित कार्यालयमै पठाउँछौं र बाँकी अब इमर्जेन्सी र दैनिक रूपमा चाहिँ त्यसपछि यो ब्याकलग हटिसकेपछि त नियमित तर्फबाट त कम हुन्छ हैन, संख्या पनि कम हुन्छ। त्यसपछि चाहिँ हामीले हुलाकमा पठाउने अथवा कसरी गर्ने भनेर चाहिँ हामी थप छलफल गरेर अगाडि बढ्न सक्छौं।
Those licenses are nearing their next renewal time before even reaching the hands of the service seekers. According to the current agreement to print 1.2 million units, 6 lakh have been printed, among which 5 lakh have already been dispatched to the respective offices. Sabika Shrestha with camera person Pradyumna Dhungel reporting for NTV World.
Time to go for a short break. We shall be back with more updates. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with NTV World Primetime News, and now the remaining updates. Nepal government launched the health insurance program in 2016 with the aim of expanding citizens' easy access to healthcare services. However, its effectiveness in Sudur Paschim province has remained low. According to the Health Insurance Board, only 26% of the total population in the province are enrolled in the program, while just 79,195 families have active insurance coverage as of mid-April. The scheme was introduced to protect poor, vulnerable and rural citizens from sudden medical expenses. However, geographical remoteness, lack of public awareness and problems in service delivery have prevented wider participation. The board also stated that concerns over service quality and lack of trust have discouraged many citizens from renewing their insurance. In addition, insufficient resources, weak coordination with local governments and shortcomings in services provided by healthcare institutions have contributed to reluctance among both existing and potential beneficiaries. Under the health insurance scheme, a family of up to 5 members pays an annual premium of approximately 3,500 rupees, equivalent to $26 to receive an insurance card. There is also a provision for free health insurance for extremely poor, disabled persons with leprosy, HIV-infected individuals, patients with complicated tuberculosis, and senior citizens above 70 years of age. Nepal's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has confirmed that Nepali national Amrit Jha, who was arrested in Iran during the Middle East conflict, was freed on Wednesday. Jha was held by the Iranian army from the Strait of Hormuz nearly a month ago. According to Foreign Affairs Minister Shishir Khanal, Jha is in contact with Nepal's Honorary Consul General in Iran and the Embassy of Nepal in Qatar. Minister Khanal confirmed Nepal's diplomatic team is working to bring Jha out from there. Meanwhile, the Nepal government has extended its appreciation and gratitude to the government of the United Arab Emirates UAE for granting pardon to 128 Nepali inmates on the occasion of the holy month of Ramadan. The Foreign Ministry has said it highly values this gesture of pardon on the basis of humanitarian ground as a demonstration of cordiality in the bilateral relations between Nepal and the United Arab Emirates UAE. In the meantime, the Nepali embassy in Bangkok has rescued 46 Nepalese from Cambodia. All the rescued individuals have returned home after receiving information that they were being used for illegal work after reaching Cambodia through various means. They were rescued with help of the Cambodian government and were sent back home, according to the embassy. According to the embassy, 101 Nepalese had traveled to Cambodia in 2021, 1,977 in 2022, 2,940 in 2023, 6,404 in 2024, and 9,676 in 2025, hoping for attractive employment opportunities. The embassy has also requested one and all not to go to Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Thailand without obtaining labor permit. A traditional Baigune fair has begun at Itahari sub-metropolitan city of Nepal's eastern district of Sunsari amid religious devotion and cultural festivity. A significant crowd of devotees was seen at the temple premises from early morning. With the start of the fair, thousands of worshippers lined up carrying flowers, fruits, betel leaves, areca nuts, incense sticks, and specially eggplants to offer to the deity. Due to the tradition of offering eggplants, the fair is popularly known as the Baigune Mela or Tengra Mela. Local beliefs hold that worshipping during the fair can cure skin-related diseases and fulfill wishes. Owing to this faith, devotees from far and wide visit the temple. Although the fair is particularly associated with the Tharu community's cultural identity, people from other communities have also been participating in significant numbers. Following the conclusion of the third Red Panda Festival, Ilam Sandakpur has officially been branded as a major international hub for Red Panda tourism. This strategic shift aims to revitalize Eastern Nepal's economy by leveraging the region's unique biodiversity to attract global travelers. Subeksha Rajak with our local correspondent Sujan Timsina from Ilam brings more.
Nepal's eastern district, Ilam, has officially expanded its tourism portfolio beyond the traditional sectors of tea and sunrises. With the conclusion of the third Red Panda Festival, local authorities have formally established Red Panda Tourism as a district brand in Sandakpur. This move marks a significant shift in the economic strategy of Kosi province, focusing on high-value wildlife conservation as a primary revenue stream. The red panda is an endangered species characterized by its distinctive reddish-brown fur and a long shaggy tail. Nepal's high-altitude forests provide a critical habitat for this elusive mammal, which serves as a biological indicator for the health of the Himalayan ecosystem. Globally, the species is admired for its unique evolutionary lineage, being the only living member of its taxonomic family, making Sandakpur a high-priority destination for international researchers and eco-tourists. The third Red Panda Festival has officially established this species as a formal tourism brand for Eastern Nepal. Local leaders and international experts, including Indian entrepreneur Biswajit Shah, notes that this isn't just about a festival, it's about a sustainable future for the entire Koshi province.
Red Panda conservation एउटा कन्सेप्ट छ योलाई लिएर अगाडि बढ्नु एक दिन यो मतलब फेस्टिभल पनि यो ठाउँ पनि एकदम दुनियाको मान्छेहरुमा आइहाल्छ.
Sandakpur's proximity to India's Singalila National Park creates a unique transboundary biodiversity corridor. Local tourism entrepreneur Saiva Rana reports that the area is now recognized globally as a premier site for observing these animals in their natural environment.
विश्वमै रेड पान्डा हेर्ने one of the best place चाहिँ हाम्रो यही इलाम हाम्रो सन्दकपुरै हो.
Beyond the red panda, the region sports hundreds of bird species, making it a critical hub for scientific study and specialized wildlife tourism. The economic impact is already visible. Sandakpur 2 Ward Chairman Sanam Rai confirms a shift in logistics, with international tourists increasingly opting for Nepali routes through Kakarbita and Pashupatinagar rather than Indian infrastructure. This increase in foot traffic follows a 3-year trend of rising visitor numbers, especially seeking out the red panda. Sandakpur Rural Municipality has committed to a 10-year plan to sustain this branding through annual festivals and conservation-led promotion. The objective is to reverse the decline of forest-based tourism in eastern Nepal while providing a sustainable income model for the local population. Suviksha Rajak with local correspondent Susan Timsina reporting for NTV World.
Let's take a short break before we move on to international updates. Israeli airstrikes have destroyed a key bridge linking southern Lebanon with the rest of the country. Lebanese state media says the Qasmieh bridge was hit by 2 successive attacks. Israel says it's targeting Hezbollah, the Iran-backed militant group. It is learned Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will speak to the Lebanese President Joseph Aoun later today. Towns and villages across southern Lebanon are being leveled by Israeli demolitions. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has arrived at Doha as part of his 4-day official visit amid heightened diplomatic activity ahead of a possible second round of US-Iran peace talks. Upon his arrival, Sharif held talks with Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. The visit comes as Pakistan continues its efforts to engage regional partners in support of ongoing mediation initiatives aimed at facilitating dialogue between Washington and Tehran. The meeting also comes days after US and Iranian delegations held talks in Islamabad that failed to secure a permanent end to the war, now under a temporary ceasefire. Elsewhere, Pakistan's Prime I come back to this again. Pakistan's Army Chief Asim Munir held meeting with Iran's Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf after Pakistani mediators traveled to Iran to press efforts to end the war with the United States and Israel. China's economy grew faster than expected in the first 3 months of the year, even as countries around the world feel the impact of the US-Israel war with Iran. Gross domestic product GDP rose by 5% in the period compared to a year earlier, according to official data. Economists had expected the figure to come in at around 4.8%. That came despite the conflict in the Middle East, which started on 28 February, severely disrupting global energy supplies, with Asian countries hit particularly hard. It also marks the first release of official GDP figures since Beijing cut its annual economic growth target last month to a range of 4.5% to 5%, its lowest expansion goal since 1991. The rebound from a weaker expansion of 4.5% in the previous quarter was driven by manufacturing, while the world's second largest economy continues to be weighed down by falling property investment. Russia launched more than 700 drones and missiles at Ukraine in multiple waves overnight, killing at least 17 people in what local officials said was the deadliest attack in months. The officials said 9 people were killed in the southern port city of Odessa, 4 including a child in the capital Kiev, and another 4 in the central city of Dnipro. In Russia, 2 people including a child were killed in a Ukrainian drone attack in the southern Krasnodar region. This comes after a brief ceasefire took place over Orthodox Easter the weekend, but both sides accused one another of hundreds of violations. Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Pope Leo XIV calls for a decisive change of course towards peace in a world which he says is ravaged by a handful of tyrants. His remarks came during an address at St. Joseph Cathedral in the city of Bamenda in Cameroon's troubled northwest region.
I am grateful for your words of welcome, because it is true. I am here to proclaim peace. Yet I find it is you who are proclaiming peace to me and to the entire world. We must make a decisive change of course, a true conversion that will lead us in the opposite direction, onto a sustainable path rich in human fraternity. The world is being ravaged by a handful of tyrants, yet is held together by a multitude of supportive brothers and sisters.
Time again for a breather. We shall be back with more from International. An American YouTuber known as Johnny Somali has been sentenced to 6 months in prison in South Korea after a series of provocative and disruptive incidents. Somali sparked outrage for offensive behavior in public, including harassment of women, creating disturbances in public spaces, and posting videos of him performing insulting acts at sensitive historical sites. Prosecutors indicted him in late 2024, but his actions continued during legal proceedings. He drew further criticism with inflammatory remarks about Korea and controversial political gestures in court. The court ruled that his repeated offenses were driven by online profit and showed a serious disregard for Korean law. He was taken into custody immediately and also faces restrictions on working with vulnerable groups. Blossoms of over 3,000 cherry trees are in full bloom in a village near the site of the 2011 nuclear disaster. Residents of Litate village were forced to evacuate their homes after a tsunami triggered by a massive earthquake in March that year caused a triple meltdown at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. A couple of the village had begun planting the trees before the disaster, aiming to create the best cherry blossom spot in the village. After they returned to the village, they resumed planting the trees, which they saw as a symbol of reconstruction, seeking to create a place where people can gather once again. The flowers, which came into bloom over the weekend, were at their best on Wednesday. Residents from nearby areas have been flocking to the site to stroll under the delicate pink blossoms and take photos. Turkey's Lake Van, the world's largest saline soda lake, is making headlines as its majestic microviolets, often called underwater chimneys or lake corals, move one step closer to the Guinness World Record. Standing at heights of up to 40 meters, these biological structures have formed over thousands of years deep within the lake. The application to recognize them as the world's largest microviolates has successfully passed the preliminary round of the Guinness selection process. Following 3 months of intensive research and preparation, the application was submitted and quickly cleared the initial hurdle. It officially certified. This will mark Van's second appearance in the Guinness World Records following its record-breaking Van breakfast. A final decision is expected within the next 2 to 3 months, potentially turning this hidden treasure of Lake Van into a globally recognized tourism landmark. And now the sports update. Bayern Munich secured a thrilling 4-3 victory over Real Madrid in a tense and dramatic Champions League quarter-final match that also saw the Spanish giants reduced to 9 men after receiving 3 red cards. The high-intensity encounter ended with Bayern edging past Madrid in a closely contested battle. In another fixture, Arsenal and Sporting played out a cautious and evenly matched game, with both sides failing to break the deadlock as the match ended 0-0 at full-time. However, Arsenal advanced to the semi-finals based on 1-0 aggregate victory. The quarter-final second legs have concluded with 2 other teams, PSG and Atletico Madrid, joining the semi-final lineup as the competition moves closer to the final in Budapest. Covering just 444 square kilometers, Curaçao has made history by becoming the smallest nation ever to qualify for the FIFA World Cup. Football Federation President Gilbert Martina described the achievement as a divine journey, calling it the result of years of long-term development and sustained effort in the country's football program. The milestone marks a significant breakthrough for the Caribbean nation on football's biggest stage, underscoring one of the most remarkable qualification stories in World Cup history. The achievement has been widely celebrated in Curaçao, with fans and officials hailing it as a defining moment in the nation's sporting history. And before wrapping up, here's a look into the top stories this hour. Nepal's Prime Minister holds meeting with chief ministers of all 7 provinces. Talks focus on federal-provincial coordination and development push. Nominations filed for chairs of 10 thematic and 2 joint House committees. RSP to support Congress for Public Accounts Committee leadership. Government launches 24-hour driving license printing service. 600,000 licenses already dispatched. Israel says dismantling Hezbollah is its top goal as rare direct talks with Lebanon begin. Fighting continues on the ground as well. Pakistani PM meets with Qatari Emir in Doha. Such comes as diplomatic efforts intensify ahead of possible US-Iran talks. And Bayern Munich knocks Real Madrid out of Champions League in a quarter-final classic. Arsenal beats Sporting 1-0 on aggregate. That's it for this edition of Primetime News. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. Do join us through our social media and also get the latest update from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
is undoubtedly #1 destination for tourists in Nepal. The valley, blessed with natural beauty, attracts domestic and foreign tourists alike. You must have already visited Pokhara. If you haven't or planning another trip, then these are some of the must-go places in Pokhara. The first attraction in Pokhara is the Feva Lake. Boating in Feva Lake is a ritual for every tourist visiting this paradise. The Tal Barahi temple at the center of the lake adds to the beauty of the place. A round-trip boat ride in Feva Lake to and from the temple is a feature of both the lake as well as the temple. Separate boat ride, watching the reflection of Mount Machapuchre on the lake and fishing spice up the Feva experience. The lakeside along the banks of the Feva Lake is a popular tourist hub. Many tourists in Pokhara choose Devi's Fall as their second destination in Pokhara. The water from Feva Lake exits towards Seti River through the Gupteshwar cave from this Devi's Fall. The mighty water stream rushing deep down into the gorge, covered by water vapor, is a magical sight. Pokhara is known as the city of lakes and caves. Many of the lakes and caves have religious importance. This is Gupteshwar cave at Chorepatan area. Inside the cave, the idol of Lord Shiva is a well-known pilgrimage. Further inside the cave, one can see the Devi's Fall. Mahendra Cave is another famous place in Pokhara, and nearby is another well-known Chamere cave. Both the caves can be visited together. Two other well-known tourist destinations in Pokhara are Begnas and Rupa lakes. Fresh fish or Begnas lake is a sought-after delicacy. Rupa lake is just round the corner beyond a small hill towards the eastern edge of Begnas lake. Away from the hustle and bustle of the town, Begnas and Rupa lakes cannot be taken out of a tourist's itinerary. This is the famous White Monastery on top of the hill above Feva Lake. This is also a popular destination for domestic as well as foreign tourists. The top-angle bird's-eye view of Pokhara city from the monastery is a sight to behold. The placid Feva Lake, the tall mountain range, and the birds like paragliding pilots on the background of Sarankot Hill are mesmerizing. The Bindabasini temple in Pokhara is a famous shrine in Nepal. The best route to visit the temple is on the way to Sarankot. Devotees throng the Bindabasini temple, which is atop a small hill with panoramic view of Pokhara city. The Bindabasini temple is famous among the Hindus across the country. Sarankot is a hill station on top of a hill on the northwestern side of Pokhara. a must-go place to see the majestic Mount Machapuchre and Mount Dhaulagiri in the Annapurna range in front of the eyes, and also the Pokhara and Leknath cities on the other side. Sarangkot is synonymous to paragliding in Nepal. Taking off from the Sarangkot hill, one can enjoy the panoramic mountain range in addition to the bird's eye view of Pokhara city. Ultralight and zip flyer offer a thrill to adventure seekers in Pokhara and are becoming major interests for tourists. Other places, including Swarak in Sangja, have the potential to be world's best place for paragliding. First time in Nepal, Paragliding Accuracy World Cup was held at this place, situated at Mahapur of Virkot municipality of the district. The place drew global attention after the event. Pokhara, famous tourism destination of the country. Majority of locals engaged in tourism industry. The city of lakes and caves, hub of aviation sports. Some major destinations: Lakeside, Feva Lake and Tal Barahi Temple, Begnas and Rupa Lakes, Mahendra Gufa,
dancing in the beats of Khaijari. These tireless young feet will not stop until the next morning. As every dawn brings along a dusk, and a hello has to end in a farewell note, it was time for us to say goodbye to Ramkot. The beat of the Madal and Khaijari constantly tried to hold us back even until we reached the faraway trails. It was hard to say goodbye when our heart wanted to stay, but then we had to move on.
The headlines in Nepal are dominated by Balendra Shah government's decisions following the dramatic rise of a new political order in Kathmandu. But the real test of Nepal's future is being written in the fields and planning rooms of our provinces. Today we go beyond the populist rhetoric to look at facts. On today's Insight, we are joined by Dr. Sohan Prasad Shah, a scholar of science policy, architect of barefoot research, and former vice chair of the Madhesh Planning Commission. As the federal government rolls out its 100-point agenda, today we're asking, can a centralized reform movement truly fix a decentralized nation? And what happens to Madhesh in this new Nepal? Dr. Shah, welcome to NTV World Insight.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
How are you viewing the current political development in the country with the formation of a new government, old guards falling down, new forces emerging?
There is an exciting time that we are in. For a few reasons that we are in an exciting time. For a long time we have been thinking that youth should come to the politics, but it has not been happening. So somehow the old guards musical chair was going on. And suddenly we have an election, and after the Gen Z movement we have an election, and then probably we have the youngest cabinet ever in Nepal. And well, in Nepal previous history we have a youngest prime minister, but in a republic, after the post-republic time, we see the youngest prime minister in Nepal. So a lot of credible hopes and a lot of excitement, and we think that we aspire for the good future. So the people is aspiring for the good future. But it's yet to see how the things will unfold. But so far, there is a lot of enthusiasm.
Balendra Shah government has laid out a 100-point agenda for reforms with a particular focus on technology and urban efficiency as well. Do you think this approach is it one-size-fits-all context when it comes to when we focus on provinces like Madhesh?
Oh yes, I did go through the 100-point agenda. Technocratically, it looks very good. But how much it is feasible on the reality, it's yet to, we have to measure. For example, there is a huge promises on the tech sector. Like most of the agendas that you will see is towards a digital new evolution of the country. And digitalization is a good thing, but how we can manage, because you know we have the 3 tiers of government. So not everything is in the federal, not everything is in the province, not everything is in local government. So these databases are structured in 3 tiers of the government. So digital evolution is a good idea, but mechanism to we call it a social imaginaries. We have a technical imaginaries. So on a technical imaginaries, this 100-point agenda is very good, but this technical imaginaries needs to also catch up with the social imaginaries, political imaginaries, and our bureaucratic imaginaries. So these things we are yet to see that how it will unfold. But these are the good reforms, and I think if it can kick off, the country will be in a better reform process. So digital evolution is a very good idea, but there are some social evolution also, which I would like to point out. Like for example, there is one agenda, particularly is a good agenda, is of apology, tendering the apology to the Dalits, and because for hundreds years the discrimination they have faced, and Parliament is saying that we will tender an apology. This is something like what in Australia Kevin Rudd has done to the Aborigines. So they have some political imaginations also. They have huge technical imagination, but this technical imagination needs to catch up with our social imaginaries, political imaginaries, and bureaucratic imaginaries. So we are yet to see that how it will take place.
While this question might sound a little heavy and it's wide for interpretation, do you think our state apparatus are ready for implementing the 100-point agendas that the government has tabled?
That's the difficult part, because there's 2 ways to look at it. One from an optimism side, one from a little bit of pessimism side. From the optimism side, if you will see the previous 10 to 20 years of our governance, we have a very good successful examples in Nepal on the digital evolution. Like for example, the budget system, we have PLMBIS, in a local government we have Sutra, we have CGAS. Means there are a lot of technological interventions in the governance side, and I think that in South Asia we are doing quite well by implementing those agendas. On other side also, if you will see the foreign labor employment softwares, and there are many other technical interventions has taken place in Nepal. So it's not new that this has not been imagined before. Nepal has already implemented the technical side, digital governance side, many other things, and successful implementation. But the point is that this has taken the evolution, this has taken the time, this has taken the over 10 years to do that. I'm optimistic in that sense that the government has brought the new technological reforms, digital reforms into the system. So this will take time, but at least I would like to thank the government that at least they have imagined that this has to be done. So and this is taking so this enthusiasm needs to catch up with the bureaucratic eagerness and the coordination with the 3 tiers of the government. If that is done, probably we will see the new evolution. So we already have the successful examples in Nepal of the technological side, digital governance side. And because this is the younger cabinet, so they have taken it 3 steps forward. So we have 2 steps forward before, now they are taking 3 steps forward. So that's a good optimism sign. Pessimism side is that does our bureaucratic abilities will be able to navigate all these technicalities, because what you see is that we need a thick descriptions of the understanding, you know. By looking at the 100-point agenda, it looks like, okay, everything is good now, that, okay, if this will be implemented, things will be changed in better in a way. But then when you see deeply, we call it in proof of the food is an eating. So until and unless this is implemented, you are not sure that how it will be navigated. So I think we should wait and watch and see how it will be evolved.
During the 2025 September uprising, it was largely centered in the capital, in urban areas. How do you think the movement resonated with youths of the Tarai Madhesh region, where the problems are different than compared to those in capital?
During the Gen Z movement, we witnessed that it is more the urban youths kind of movement. And then during the Gen Z movement, we are not sure that how it will go to the villages, cities, across Kathmandu, across the regional areas of Nepal. But when we see the election result, it looks like resonated everywhere. So our prediction that this is the only urban youth resonance during the Gen Z movement, Nepo kids, all digital tech and things like this, it has resonated in the ground quite well. So because the election result shows that, because they are winning from every constituencies almost, and now they are nearer to the 2/3 majority. But Madhesh province problems are a bit different. We have the younger population as compared to the national average. The Madhesh population is more younger. Madhesh province is one of the most, the number wise, if you will see, the labor migrating to the Gulf and Malaysia, if you will see, the Madhesh province holds the largest share. Almost out of 4, 1 people in Nepal who migrates to the foreign country are from the Madhesh region. So the unemployment crisis is quite huge there in Madhesh. Madhesh is known for the bread basket, but then we see the agriculture, subsistence agriculture is not now getting to the life of the people, and they want to migrate. So that's the agriculture is not attractive profession for the Madhesh. Now we see other problems also. We see education. Education wise, I mean, to give you just data that how the data of the education. We have 4 census. In 1948, in 2048, Bikram Sambat, 2058, 2068, and 2078, the recent census. Out of 10 districts who are illiterate, top 10 districts of Nepal, in 2058 census, from the Madhesh province, there was, from the now the 8 district Madhesh province, only 1 district, Rothad, was the least educated district in Madhesh province. In 2058, we have 4 districts from the Madhesh province. Out of 8 Madhesh province, 4 districts are listed into the most illiterate districts of Nepal. In 2068 census, 6 districts of the Madhesh, out of 8, 6 districts from the Madhesh province are listed into the top 10 illiterate districts. And the recent census of 2078 Bikram Sambat, we have 7 districts illiterate among the top 10 of the Nepal. So that means that from the over 4 decades, the education is being in a declining situation. Whereas if you will see if you will go further back to the history, the Madhesh province has been the teacher supplying province for the whole Nepal. Math teacher, science teacher are from the Madhesh province. But now the Madhesh province is facing the huge crisis in education. There are other problems also, unemployment, because if you will see the unemployment data, proportionately among the other provinces, huge unemployment crisis, and that is what is reflected in the migration, because we have out of 4, 1 people is from the Madhesh who is migrating to the Gulf country. And then there are regional disparities that we witnessed, because if you will see the Hulaki Rajmarg, we see the concentration of the poverty very high, concentration of the violence very high. Among the youth, there is a major problem now is the drug abuses. Drug abuses cases has been increased in Madhesh. So Madhesh is in as compared to the Nepal's other provinces, Madhesh is facing the huge crisis. And I think the new government, if you will see the electoral victories of the new government, Madhesh province is probably the most benevolent for the victory, because out of 32 seats, 30 seats in a directly elected, first past the post, the Balan government has secured the seat there. So I think the Madhya province has reacted extraordinarily for the nearing two-third majority of this government. So now the Madhya province is looking very high that this government will do something significant for the Madhya province. And I told you there are many other things, and historically on a development path, Madhya province has faced the many challenges, and these challenges, now the youth cabinet is there. So Madhya is looking for the youth cabinet to deliver for them.
I just want to go back to March 5 elections. Many political heavyweights who were capital-centered, urban-centered, chose constituencies in the Tarai Madhesh region for March 5 HOR elections. Why do you think was the affinity or the fascination with Tarai Madhesh region?
Madhya Pradesh is new Uttar Pradesh of India, because if you will see, the largest seat from the Uttar Pradesh is in the India's parliament. Similarly, we have the largest seat in the from the Madhya province to our parliaments. That's I mean, Bagmati Pradesh is also there, but then you have the difference between the Bagmati Pradesh and the Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh is the land of 6.5% of Nepal, of the total land in Nepal, geographic land. 6.5% is Madhya province, but the population concentration is 21%. Bagmati province is also almost 21%. So Bagmati Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh, 21% of the total population of Nepal. But geographic area wise, Madhya province is only 6.5%. That means in a population density of the Madhya province is quite huge. So that means that to do a campaign, to go and convince the electorate, you can, in a 2 hour, you can, 2 to 3 hours, you can, from one point of the province to the another point of the province you can travel, and you can meet 21% of the population coverage. So that is why the Madhya province is the new Uttar Pradesh of Nepal.
There's a logistical perspective to it.
Yes.
You mentioned of many problems that the province is facing. Education, as you mentioned, is worsening in recent years. Let's start with education sector. What would you say are the concrete steps that the current government can do to collaborate with the province to improve the sector?
On education, there are, I mean, this government is focused on technology heavily, but then our problem is other also. I mean, because I am reading the 100 Point Agenda, I think they are in the very top tier problems that they are identifying. But I think they should also identify the problems which are on the rooted in a grassroots, and the problems in the grassroots are very different than the 100 Point Agendas. So, like take for example, in Madhya province, there's the largest children as compared to the other provinces. The maximum number of the absolute number of the children that are out of school. Forget about going to school; they are out of school. They have not been. They have not seen the classrooms. So that number is huge in Madhya Pradesh. So government first challenge is to get them back to the school, those who are out of school. And this is not a technology that you cannot make some software and then you can bring those children to the school. This needs a lot of social imaginaries and political imaginaries. And this, I think I would expect this government to work on this kind of the problems also. Prevalence of the child marriage in Madhya province is almost across the district is almost 80 to 90%. 80 to 90%. Out of 10, almost 8 women married before the age of 20. And if you will take the breakup between 15 to 19 year age, between 10 to 15 year age, between 15 to 19 year age is even higher percentage. So child marriage means that school dropout, means that girls are not going to school. So there is a problem, male and female, but the women are facing a more problem in the holding them to the school. So that's another challenge. And this is not something that you will make a software in Kathmandu and this will be done automatically. For this you need a huge social imaginary again. Take another example, third example. Even if the child goes to school, dropout rates are extremely high as compared to other provinces. dropout rate is extremely high in Madhya province. Means, and I told you the reason, child marriage and other issues are there. So this is the challenge again that the government has to do. This is the one problem of the political side where the government needs to do an intervention, and this intervention is certainly not going to take place from Singh Darbar and from the digital imagination of the 100-point agenda. This is something that you have to do intervention in the ground. There is another problem. Another problem is that child, even if it goes to school and stays in school, their learning is not adequate as much as they should have in that class. Like for example, 4th class student is not able to answer you the 1 class course. 8th class student will not be able to answer the 4th class mathematics and sciences. So that means that learning gap is also huge. And again, if you will see the data of the other provinces, this learning gap is huge in Madhya province. So this is another problem. And then the problem is of the higher education also. In Madhya province, the higher education system is almost collapsed because we have the 4 constituent campuses in Tribhuvan University, and these campuses, the students are not learning anything. I mean, our university system as a overall in Nepal is not very well, but in the Madhya province, all the higher education institutions are almost in a verge of collapse, or not functioning, or I would say dysfunctional. So making it to a functional is also an issue. So I'm telling you that from the 0 to 18-year age, we need a lot of interventions. And also, major intervention is drug abuses. From the 14-year to 24-year of the youths, we see a lot of drug abuses cases also in the Madhya province. That's the another challenge that this government has to face. So I see 100-point agenda is all technical imaginaries, which is really good for the country. But these technical imaginaries, apart from these technical imaginaries, I think the groundwork, the ground realities of the provinces are different. And I hope that there also they should do an intervention.
If you were at authority, because you also worked in the Planning Commission, if you were in an authority position right now to mobilize resources, what would be the interventions that you are expecting?
When I was in a Planning Commission as a Vice Chair, we tried to do things with 2 approaches. One, that's my pride project that I have been telling to almost every platform, Feed the Nation campaign. Because if you will see the data of the agricultural production, Madhya can alone feed the nation, because Madhya is already the bread basket of Nepal. But saying the bread basket of Nepal is now not enough. I think the Madhya should come with the confidence that we can alone, Madhya province, of 8 districts of Madhya province can alone feed the whole country. Imagine that reality, if that can be achievable. Because if you will see the cereal crop production, sugar cane production, mango is almost 2/3. Fish is almost 56% that we contribute in Nepal. Madhya province contributes proportion. In a cereal crop production, almost 26%. 6.5% land, but 26% is still now the contribution of the Madhya province. In many other areas of the product, we see that thing. So Feed the Nation campaign is, we have championed in Madhya province. We have allocated the resources, but you know, province budget is not enough, because province budget is very little of the proportion of what the national budget is. So I think the federal government should also now take this agenda, which is of the Madhya province, to their agenda, and then allocate the resources more towards it. Madhya province is already doing, but federal government needs to allocate more resources to do that. Second thing that we wanted to do is on education. At least we should campaign to 100% literacy in Madhya province, but with not with numerical literacy, but we are also saying the digital literacy, because Madhya province digital literacy is very less. I mean, overall literacy is very less, but digital literacy is of course very less there. So we are campaigning that. So allocation of resources, and you know, on education we need a huge budget. And province budget is alone not enough, and provincial budget is also not enough. Second campaign that we wanted to do in Madhya province, and I'm telling you because I think our new government will see and then probably can take it for consider it. Third campaign is that we give this midday meal program, right? Midday meal program per student we give only 15 rupees. Imagine in 15 rupees can they feed the stomach? So we need to increase that amount. So for that we need to rationalize our cost in the province, in school management systems, but as well as we need to top up the budget. Because, you know, there is another problem in Madhya province, nutrition. Many people don't talk about it or is overlooked. I mean, I don't see it in 100% agenda as well. Nutrition is the big problem in Nepal, not only in Madhya province but across Nepal. Because our child are malnutritious, our child are stunted, our child, if you will see the number, anemia number is very high. So these are the thing of social interventions on the ground. And for that, I think the government should take the considerate view, apart from the technical imagination.
I just want to carry on the midday meal quota, the 15 rupees amount you mentioned. How much would be enough?
It depends how much would be enough. Because if we can centralize the kitchen system in the, I mean there are plans, you know, there are plans in a way that can reduce the cost, because we need to rationalize the cost also, because we see a lot of unrealized costs are taking place, and that is why the 15 rupees is not enough. So if we can reduce the cost and then increase a little bit of the investment, like for example, if the 15 rupees is there, I think we were adding up to the 10 rupees more to that, with the condition that we should rationalize the extra cost that is happening in the local level. If we can rationalize that cost and add a 10 rupees more, that can be a good plan for at least to provide the nutrition to the child in the school. So that is our expectation.
The Tarai region has always been the breadbasket of the country, but it also faces repeated issues like lack of fertilizers. It's been years that climate change has made impact on the agriculture sector. Where do you think the previous governments did not work on?
This has been a major complaint. Thank you for asking this question. This is rarely a debate in national channels. Fertilizer is the major issue, and especially Madhya province, because fertilizer quotas is determined from the federal, and these quotas do not do justice. I would say justice, to be very mild, do not do a justice to the Madhya province. So this quota, because the province is the breadbasket, and at least the federal government should be able to do a justice to provide the fertilizers to the Madhya province. There is another issue also. You know, the sugarcane farmers always complain, and they have to come always to Maitighar to do a protest for their rightful demand to get the price of what they have sold to the sugar mills. This has been a problem since decades, and I hope that some major decision will take place. Even the subsidy in the sugar cane was removed, and Madhya province government has also protested that the subsidy should not be removed, because then there will be no incentive for the farmers to produce the sugar cane, and the industry will face a crisis because of they will not get a sugar cane to produce the sugar. So apart from this, as you rightly said, climate change is also a major issue. You know, the climate change debate in Nepal is always concentrated on high hills. We see the climate change is glacier is melting is a big climate change. That's the issue. We see red panda. I'm sarcastically telling the red panda is also an issue, but that is an issue. We see other issues but people who are facing the climate change, the vulnerable people, are in the Madhya province, because I have already told you 21% of the population is in the Madhya province. Most of them are dependent on agriculture. And the vulnerability of the climate change, if you will map whole Nepal, probably the most vulnerable to the climate change are the people in the Madhya province and across the Tarai region from east to west. And climate justice has not been taken place, because you see a lot of climate funding, a lot of climate issues, lot of climate adaptation and mitigation projects. These are not going to the Madhya province. So I think I would expect this government should do a climate justice also. And these are not in the 100-point agendas. So I'll just give you one empirical example. Recently, last year, Madhya province government has declared a drought. Followed by that, our cabinet in Kathmandu also, federal government has declared Madhya province a drought region. Imagine a drought in Madhya province. There will be unemployment, income of the people will be suppressed. There will be other effects of the production side. We have in the federal government, we had the President Chure program. That's a very pride project. But I think now that is downsized. And I think this government need to recalibrate the effort to save the Chure, because the decline of the Chure that we have seen across the decade. In a decade, the decline is contributing the major problems for the Madhya province, for the water crisis, for the climate adaptation and things like this. Apart from that, land is an issue. I mean, many people do not talk about it, but the real land, I mean, if you will see, I mean, because this government has already coming up with the plan to apologize with Dalits, right? But apologizing with Dalit is not enough. You have to ensure their rights. And people who are most landless in Nepal are Dalits. How is the government give them a land? Because, you know, land is the only surety of the life, that you will live the life with dignity in Nepal. So these are also the issues of the land, climate change, Chure, and vulnerability across the region. And that should be the priority, because Madhya province is expecting a lot from this cabinet, because Madhya province has voted, I think, quite disproportionately higher than other provinces to this government. And then this Madhya province is expecting quite high. So I think the government will take a considerate view of the province.
You've championed barefoot research, getting data from the ground up. Does the current government's fast-paced and social media-driven decision-making process, if you think, leave any room for slow and meticulous research required for sustainable development?
It's a good question. Okay, data. And data is one of the things that needs to be debated. We have a National Statistical Organization, and we have a lot of surveys going on. But these data need to match up with the disaggregated data from the provinces and local government. When you see the disaggregated data, and when you want to talk details on the provincial level or in a local level, you don't get the data. So the disaggregated data is a very important issue, and that now on we should be debating about. Second thing is about the ground research. You know, when you see the 100% agenda, the 100% agenda, all agendas looks like top down to me. You know, it's not coming up from the ground. How it will be the ground evidences data? Because I have already told you about the many problems where the ground up political and social problems are there. So the ground up data are not coming into the picture. So the barefoot research is about all I'm asking is to do a thick description of the thing. You know, in Nepal we already debate. Most of the debates are thinly described debates. You know, but thick description is like if the problem is there, we should be able to dissect that problem thickly, not thinly. Thinly description is like, okay, there is a problem, superficially you want to solve the problem and do the policy interventions, legal interventions and things like this, you know. But that doesn't solve the problem. Like obviously child marriage. Child marriage, we have laws, but prevalence is almost 80 to 90% in the society. That means that even if you have law, you don't solve the problem in the society. So that is why the ground up imaginations of the data is also required. So I think the government should start talking not from the lens of the 100-point agendas, that this is only the TOR of the government. It is top down. Now it should come from down to top also, and then to match up with the data.
Madhesh is the gateway for trade with our largest partner, India. How do you see this administration's Nepal first nationalistic rhetoric impacting the cross-border developmental project and provincial economies?
You know, the revenue of the country. If you will see the revenue, mostly our customs contributes to the larger share in our revenue in Nepal. On the trade side, we need some major reforms also, and I think I'm quite hopeful with our finance minister also, because I think he holds good knowledge about the economy, and I think he has a lot of consultation with FNCCI, CNI and other things. And the very good news is that the Rameswar Canal's report is being implemented, and 15 laws, they are saying that they will scrap the 15 laws, and some of the organizations also is being scrapped, and so new imagination is there. But then with the trade with India, there is an issue. There is an issue of how to make our industries more viable. And you see the investment, the cross-border investments are not taking place. I think this government should be able to facilitate the trade as well as facilitate the FDI, at least with India more, because the cross-border trade and with the foreign investment, we will be able to fulfill the promise. And this government has has said that 12 lakh employment is the promise in 5 years. The 12 lakh employment is a big promise. So this promise can only be fulfilled once we will have the good economic relation, economic diplomacy with India. And previously, the economic diplomacy with India is mostly on political and other things, sometimes rhetoric also. But now I think our finance minister and also foreign minister, he holds very good knowledge about the issues of South Asia. So I think now we will be more talking about economic diplomacy. Not only economic diplomacy, we need to talk about science diplomacy, because foreign direct investment can only be possible in Nepal once there is a technology transfer, because we need the technology, right? Technology transfer is required for the investments to take place. And the foreign policy and with the Sisir Canal and economic policies with Swarnim Wagle, I think they are the two best people in the cabinet that Nepal can imagine to see them there. So I think economic diplomacy and a science diplomacy with Sisir Canal and a clear agenda of driving the growth. To drive a growth, we need an FDI. To get an FDI, the best destination for us is either India or China. And to get an FDI, Swarnim Wagle can do all the right mechanism to take place, and so I think the economic diplomacy, science diplomacy, and the economic policies should come together, and I think we should move forward. In foreign policy, we have been debating many other things, which is hardly of the concern to the people. I think this government will start diplomacy, which really concerns to the people.
What are the issues that we are talking about that does not as much concern the people?
I mean, it's always about nationalism, you know. I mean, when there is any diplomacy with a foreign country, with diplomatic relation, is always done with a mindset of the high rhetoric nationalism, you know. I mean, which is good. Sometimes nationalism is good, you know, but we have never focused on the economic diplomacy and science diplomacy, because India is a big country, China is a big country. Both of them are technologically very powerful now, and I don't see any significant technological collaborations with India and China. India has IITs. I would like to see more collaborations with India's best higher education institutions and Nepalese institutions in agriculture. Like, for example, in agriculture, we have agriculture university. In Madhya province has agriculture university. We have agriculture. India has a very good agriculture research institute. We need to see the good collaboration between these technical institute for the technological collaboration and to do a scientific research in Nepal. China has the good industrial research things take place. So we should be able to collaborate with the industrial research with China and to get an FDI here. So these are the issues. not only the mere political issues that, okay, that dispute or what happens in history. I mean, we have been debating to change the 1950 treaty, right? I mean, ever since I am born, now I am almost 39, and I have been hearing that 1950 treaty will be amended from India and Nepal. But has it done? So we should move beyond that and to come to the term with the science diplomacy, technological diplomacy, economic diplomacy. These are the concerns of the people, where we will be able to provide them job, where we will be able to reimagine our economy in a way that delivers economic growth and things like this.
Lastly, Dr. Shah, the current government has floated the idea of scrapping unions in educational institutions. Do you think this step kind of takes away the only system for marginalized communities to put forth their voices?
There are two opinions. If you will see, the people will give you a very clear opinion that, okay, this trade union should be scrapped and this is a good agenda. This kind of populism, and this is good. But other side, if you will think deeply, these are not the good steps, because these are the product of our democratic institutions, and the democracy is all about accountability, right? And accountability takes place with the institutions, with the people's unions, because people's unions are the one who will be able to bargain with the government once there is an injustice to them. So, like, take for example, if there are some injustice, then government is heavy-handed on some of the issues and agendas. These unions comes forward for their cause, and then to do a logical bargain with the government and to establish some of the issues for themselves. But scrapping these institutions and trade unions, government will be too powerful and people will be too weak. So that democracy is, again, probably we will not imagine that.
Dr. Shah, thank you so much for your time and your valuable opinions.
Thank you.
Well, governance is more than just a mandate, it is a science. As Dr. Shah has highlighted, without grounded data and provincial inclusion, even the most popular reforms risk becoming mere footnotes. Now, whether the current administration listens to the barefoot reality of the Tarai will determine if this movement is a national success. Thank you, as always, for staying with us here. Our discourse continues here on NTV World. Until next time.
The people and wildlife of the Everest region are facing profound challenges due to the melting glaciers, erratic weather patterns, altered rainfall cycles, and escalating temperatures. Shrinking glaciers are the growing expanse of glacial lakes in the Himalayas, heightening the threat of sudden and catastrophic disasters. According to a study conducted by ICIMOD and UNDP, out of 1,466 glacial lakes in the country, 21 have been identified as potentially dangerous, of which 6 have been placed in the high-risk category, such as Lake Imza in Solukhumbu district. Rapid glacial melting glacial lake outbursts, and unusual flooding are rare phenomena in the Everest region. A team of science journalists from Nepal, India, Bhutan, and Bangladesh undertook a 12-day journey from Kathmandu to Everest Base Camp to report on the impact of climate change on the base camp and its surroundings. It is a unique and once-in-a-lifetime experience for the journalists. Flights in the mountainous regions are naturally difficult and can be intimidating. Even so, the participants of Himalayan Climate Bootcamp 2024 are excited to experience this unique once-in-a-lifetime journey.
We are excited.
Yes.
Yes.
Very excited. Now excited.
The plane finally touched down at Tenzing Hillary Airport in Lukla, situated at an altitude of 2,846 meters and widely regarded as the world's most dangerous airport. Upon arrival, the picturesque Himalayan market, Lukla, eagerly greeted us. Located in Khumbu Pasanglamu rural municipality, Lukla served as a key starting point for the Everest Base Camp trek. The Sherpa community, prominent in the Everest region, includes individuals who hold world record in Everest climbing. The goal of the Boot Camp 2024 was to produce a report on the impact of climate change, covering a journey from Lukla to Everest Base Camp, located at an altitude of 5,364 meters. A group of 19 comprising science journalists, mentors, and 6 Sherpas assistants have begun the trek along the trail. As a group, people pass through Himalayan villages. They engage with locals, government officials, Nepal Army, guides, porters, and tourists, gathering fresh insight about the Everest region.
It was a really good experience. It was really cold, but not that hard.
On the first day of the boot camp, we overcame every obstacle to reach Monjo at 2,835 meters in the Dukosi Valley. We passed through Fakting, which is at 2,610 meters. After walking for more than 6 hours from Lukla, the team members were exhausted. Each evening, program directors, mentors, and participant journalists would sit together to casually discuss the day's experience and plan the schedule for the next day. Data collection and interviews were carefully organized during these meetings. Informal conversation and interactions with locals played a key role in the bootcamp.
We are going to interact with stakeholders. That means you may know about the environmental issues, garbage, and other things. So, Sagarmatha Pollution Control Committee, SPCC, that is the key stakeholder in the region.
To mark World Press Freedom Day on May 3rd, an interactive program was held at Sagarmatha National Park, focusing on the importance of press freedom for science journalists. The event brought together local Sherpa business people, environment activists, government officials, representatives from Sagarmatha Pollution Control Committee, the park warden, political leaders, and trekking guides, among others.
7,000 को हाराहारीमा छ population 7,000 population 7,500 त्यस्तै हाराहारीमा छ गाउँ चाहिँ कतिवटा छ ठ्याक्कै 10 मा मोटामोटी त्यही 12-15 वटा गाउँहरु छन्
तो आपके इसमें भी ऐसे बफर जोन रहता है
बफर
कोर एरिया रहता है कोर में अलाउड नहीं है पर बफर में रह सकते
no there is the village inside the
core also
as well as in the buffer also
okay
this modality is totally different from the modality of Tarai and the national park which you said that is right India.
The discussion centered on the press freedom and the impact of climate change on the livelihoods of the people in the Himalayan region. The next morning after breakfast, we visited Kancha Sherpa, member of Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay Sherpa's Everest expedition team.
Group leader John.
यहाँ छेउमै रुख छ रुख काटेर 10 वटा रुख भइगयो बेस क्याम्प गयो बेस क्याम्प पुगेपछि अनि आइस बलमा त रुखको साङ्गो थापेर अनि हामी क्याम्प 1 बनायो अनि त्यही क्याम्प 1 बनाएपछि त त्यहाँबाट त अनि सबै सजिलो छ अनि त्यसो गरेर क्याम्प 2 मा सबै सी लेभल छ क्याम्प 3 मा पनि दुःख छैन अनि क्याम्प 4 मा चाहिँ अनि साउथ कोन हो अनि हामी त्यसो गरेर अनि एभरेस्ट चढेको हामी चाहिँ गएन अनि हेलेर टेन्सन चाहिँ हामीले साउथ समिटमा पुर्यायो अक्सरहरू भयो र पालाहरू भयो र माथि साउथ समिटमा पुर्याएर हामी चाहिँ साउथ खोलमा सुन्न आयो.
Afterwards, we headed to the picturesque Himalayan villages of Khumzung, situated at 3,800 meters. Development of Khumzung began after the historic 1953 Everest climb by Hillary and Norgay. With the establishment of Kunde Hospital and Khumzung School by Hillary, there was significant improvements in health, education, and the overall livelihood of the local community. The team walked along steep trails, greeted by blooming rhododendrons, and reached Tengbote at 3,867 meters on the 4th day, where they spent the night. On the 5th day, they continued their journey, noticing changes in the Himalayas as the snow-covered peaks were now turning black. On the way to Dingboche at 4,410 meters, snowfall greeted them. To acclimatize to the altitude, the team stayed in Dingboche on the 6th day. On the 7th day, they moved on to Lobuche, crossing the steep Thukpa Pass. In the evening, they reached the Pyramid International Laboratory and Observatory in Lobuche at 5,060 meters, the world's highest altitude laboratory. During this, they also had an insightful interaction session with an international glaciologist, learning about the changes at Everest Base Camp.
Here in the region, with the French, we
melting glaciers.
Finally, we made it to the base camp. This base camp is an altitude of 5,364 meters and is the part of the Himalayan Climate Boot Camp. And we have 13 journalists from different countries, especially from the SAARC region. From Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and Nepal, and is the historic event, and is the first event that journalists have came from the sea level to the highest level to conduct a boot camp, and we have a very lifetime experience, and we observed different issues like glacier melting, status of base camp, Everest base camp, and we met different stakeholders like climbers, government officials, and we have the concluding ceremony in the base camp, and we have government officials, Mr. Himlal Gautam.
On the
Good evening, I am Siksha Bhattai and you are watching Business World. Across this week's global economy, technology and innovation, a series of developments are shaping the direction of markets, industries and supply chains worldwide. From energy security concerns and shifting trade dynamics to emerging technologies and policy moves, we bring you the key stories making headlines. We begin with developments in the energy sector where global uncertainties continue to influence supply and prices, with ripple effects being felt across the industries and the regions. We start with energy security, where Japan has unveiled a $10 billion support package for Asia. The initiative aims to strengthen energy supply chains and ensure access to petroleum-based medical products, including essential healthcare materials. It comes amid rising tension in the Strait of Hormuz, a critical global route. The move also reflects growing concern over Asian economies over supply disruptions and the need for coordinated regional resilience.
Japan's Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi has announced a $10 billion support package to strengthen Asia's energy security and safeguard vital petroleum-based medical supplies. Speaking Wednesday as chair of the Asia Zero Emission Community Plus Summit, Takaichi unveiled the new framework, Power Asia. It will channel financial aid through Japan Bank for International Cooperation to help countries procure crude oil, expand stockpiles, and adopt Japan's reserve systems. The initiative comes amid rising tensions between the United States and Iran over navigation in the Strait of Hormuz, a key artery for global energy flows. Leaders at the summit agreed Asia's economies are deeply interconnected and stressed the importance of joint efforts to secure supply chains and guarantee safe passage of vessels.
In a related development, oil markets are reacting to rising geopolitical risks. Kuwait has sharply increased crude prices for Asian buyers amid ongoing Middle East tensions. Analysts now warn the market could shift into a supply deficit. This comes as global oil prices remain volatile, with fears that prolonged disruptions could push prices above $100 per barrel.
Kuwait has raised the official selling price for Kuwait export crude to Asia in May to $17 a barrel, above the average of Oman Dubai quotes, from a premium of $0.50 in April. The news came after the US military said it would begin a blockade of maritime traffic through Iranian ports and coastal areas after weekend talks failed to clinch a deal to end the Iran war, jeopardizing a fragile 2-week ceasefire. Middle East crude has become the priciest globally after the US-Israel war on Iran disrupted shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, a vital artery for about a fifth of the world's oil supplies. This month, OPEC Plus agreed to raise oil output quotas for May by 206,000 barrels per day, a modest rise that will largely exist on paper as its key members are unable to raise production due to the Iran war. The increase comes as analysts expect the hit to global oil production to flip the oil market into a supply deficit this year versus pre-conflict estimates of a comfortable oversupply.
Meanwhile, the impact is spreading across the aviation sector as well. Cathay Pacific has announced flight cuts as jet fuel prices surge globally. The airline is scaling back operations and suspending key routes through June. Around 2% of scheduled flights will be cut, highlighting how rising fuel costs are forcing airlines to adjust capacity.
Cathay Pacific Airways has said it will cut some flights from mid-May until the end of June, citing soaring jet fuel costs triggered by the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. The airline will cancel about 2% of its scheduled passenger flights from May 16 to June 30, 2026, while its budget arm HK Express will cut about 6% from May 11. The carrier said the suspension of its passenger services to Dubai and Riyadh will stay in place until June 30. It noted that according to the latest data published by the International Air Transport Association IATA, the global average jet fuel price rose to $209 per barrel for the week ending April 3, increasing from $99.40 per barrel for the week ending February 27.
Amid these uncertainties, countries are working to secure critical supply chains. Singapore and Australia are accelerating a deal to safeguard energy and essential goods. The agreement is aimed at ensuring stability even during global disruptions. Officials say the partnership will also enhance coordination on logistics and emergency response mechanisms.
Singapore and Australia are working towards a legally binding protocol on economic resilience and essential supplies under their free trade agreement, according to their leaders on Friday. Speaking at a press conference with his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese, Singapore Prime Minister Lawrence Wong said the two countries have agreed to accelerate negotiations on the protocol, which covers energy and other critical sectors. In a joint statement, the two prime ministers agreed to keep trade flowing between the countries, with essential goods such as food continuing to move. This includes liquefied natural gas, which Australia supplies to Singapore, accounting for more than 1/3 of Singapore's LNG, and refined petroleum products like diesel, which Singapore supplies to Australia.
Attention is also turning to long-term economic risk. The World Bank is warning of a looming global job crisis with a major shortfall expected. Leaders are being urged to stay focused on structural challenges despite current conflicts. A recent global assessment suggests economic shocks and rising costs could significantly impact employment growth in developing economies.
The Middle East war will dominate global finance officials' talks this week in Washington, but World Bank President Ajay Banga is sounding the alarm about a bigger, looming crisis, a huge gap in jobs for the 1.2 billion people who will reach working age in developing countries in the next 10 to 15 years. At current trajectories, those economies will generate only about 400 million jobs, leaving a deficit of 800 million jobs, Banga said. The World Bank President admits that focusing people on the long term is daunting given a series of short-term shocks that have buffeted the global economy since the COVID-19 pandemic, the most recent being the war in the Middle East. He says he is determined to ensure that finance officials stay focused on those longer-term challenges like creating jobs, connecting people to the electricity grid, and ensuring access to clean water. Thousands of finance officials from around the globe are gathering in Washington this week for the spring meetings of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund under the shadow of the US-Israel war with Iran that threatens to slow global growth and jack up inflation.
The economic pressures are becoming more visible across the states. Bangladesh's trade deficit has widened significantly due to rising imports and falling exports. The trend highlights growing vulnerability to global price fluctuations. Economists warn that continued pressure on foreign reserves could affect macroeconomic stability in the coming months.
Bangladesh is witnessing rising external sector pressure as its trade deficit widened significantly to $16.91 billion during the first 8 months of the 2025-26 fiscal year. According to data released by Bangladesh Bank, the deficit has increased by over $3 billion compared to the same period last year, driven by a combination of rising imports and declining export earnings. Exports declined by 2.6% year-on-year to $29.26 billion, largely due to subdued performance in the ready-made garment sector, which remains the backbone of Bangladesh's export economy. In contrast, imports rose by 5.6% to $46.17 billion, fueled by higher global prices of food, fuel, and essential commodities. It is said that the rising import bill underscores Bangladesh's heavy reliance on external markets, leaving the economy more exposed to global price fluctuations and geopolitical uncertainties.
Elsewhere, policy shifts are reshaping investment landscapes. Venezuela has opened its mineral sector to private investment to attract foreign capital. The move signals a broader push towards economic reform and long-term growth. It is also seen as an effort to diversify the economy beyond oil dependency and revive investor confidence.
Venezuela has opened its vast mineral reserves to private investment, marking a major policy shift just months after easing state control over its oil sector. The move is aimed at attracting foreign capital into one of the world's most resource-rich countries. The country holds significant deposits of gold, diamonds, bauxite, and coltan, a mineral used in electronics such as phones and laptops. Lawmakers in the National Assembly unanimously approved the mining reform on a second reading. Assembly Chief Jorge Rodriguez announced the decision, saying the legislation would help build long-term economic growth and stability. He described the reform as a key step toward future prosperity. The policy change is part of broader economic reforms linked to growing cooperation with the United States following political upheaval in the country.
Sustainability is also gaining traction in emerging economies. India has launched a major initiative to manage textile waste through recycling systems. The effort supports environmental goals while creating new livelihood opportunities. Authorities say the program could effectively reduce landfill waste while boosting the circular economy.
India has launched its first textile recovery facility, TRF, in Navi Mumbai, marking a key step in managing growing textile waste through circular economy practices. India generates around 7.8 million metric tons of post-consumer textile waste annually, prompting cities to adopt structured recovery and recycling systems. Over 140 textile collection bins have been installed across housing societies in all 8 municipal wards to encourage source segregation and citizen participation. A digital tracking system is also being developed to monitor textile flow from collection to final reuse. Recovered textiles are converted into products such as bags, mats, and home decor items by women's self-help groups, generating livelihood opportunities while reducing landfill waste. Officials say the initiative could serve as a model for other urban bodies in India.
Technology is playing an increasing role in transforming supply chains. China has introduced intelligent robots to modernize grain storage operations. The innovation boosts efficiency while reducing reliance on manual labor. Experts say such automation could improve food security by minimizing storage losses and improving monitoring system.
China has begun deploying its first intelligent grain leveling robots in commercial granaries, making a push to modernize agricultural logistics and cut labor costs across the storage sector. The robots, equipped with spiral blade wheels, can move across grain piles at speeds of up to 2 meters per second while maintaining stability under heavy weight. Their ability to flatten grain surfaces, traditionally a labor-intensive process, offers a significant productivity gain. According to designer Guo Fengmin, 3 robots can complete a task in 1 day that would otherwise require 3 workers over 3 days in a 1,400 square meter facility. From a business perspective, the technology highlights growing investment in agricultural automation as operators seek to address rising labor costs and efficiency pressures. It is pointed such systems could accelerate the digital transformation of grain storage and handling, a critical link in the food supply chain.
On the regulatory front, concerns over transparency are drawing attention. The White House has warned staff against using insider information in prediction markets. The directive comes amid growing scrutiny over ethics in financial activities. Officials emphasize that maintaining public trust is critical as digital trading platforms expand rapidly.
White House staff were warned last month not to use insider information to place bets on predictions markets. The email was sent to staff on 24th of March, a day after US President Donald Trump announced a 5-day pause on his threat to attack Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure. It referred to press reports that raised concerns over government officials using non-public information to place bets on platforms like Kalshi or Polymarket. White House spokesman Davis Engel said that any implication that administration officials are engaged in such activity without evidence is baseless and irresponsible reporting. Predictions markets, which host more than $44 billion in trades, became increasingly popular in the past year in the US.
And that was a roundup of this week's global economy, technology and innovation updates. We will continue to track how these developments shape markets around the world, especially as geopolitical tensions and economic uncertainty persist. I am Siksha Bhattarai. Thank you for watching NTV World.
Annapurna Circuit Trek features in world's 10 best destinations and adventures. The trekking circuit is the choice of many trekkers as it offers both adventure along with mesmerizing view of mountain ranges. Arguably the best trekking circuit in the world, travelers get up close with dozens of mountains including the Annapurna, Dhaulagiri, Nilgiri. Annapurna Circuit ideally is a 14-day trek. The circuit passes through Lamjung, Manang, Mustang and Myagdi district, including Thorangla Pass as the highest point. Places including Thampus, Ghandruk and Poon Hill are part of this trekking circuit. The revered Muktinath shrine is also part of the circuit. Only foreigners were seen in this circuit few years back, but now domestic tourists are also flocking the area. If you are looking for a lifetime trekking experience, then pack your bags for Annapurna trekking circuit. Mardi Base Camp Trek, also part of the Annapurna circuit, is another alternative route for trekkers who can't afford time. Trekkers can be up close with mountains including the Annapurna Range, Dhaulagiri, Machapuchre and Manasalu in this circuit. This 7-day circuit is attracting many trekkers for obvious reasons. Votekosi and Trisuli river rafting. Rafting has lately been gaining popularity among tourists. The adventure sports, which previously was popular only among foreigners, is now drawing the local tourists as well. Trisuli and Votekosi rivers that are close to Kathmandu are two popular destinations for rafting in Bagmati province. Let us first explore Votekosi. Whitewater rafting at Votekosi river is included among the 10 best adventure destinations for rafting in the world. Votekosi, which is well facilitated with food and accommodation, can be a great destination for rafting and other adventure sports. Rafting at Trisuli River is popular among domestic tourists, as the location can be reached in an hour from Kathmandu. This is where most tourists go for rafting in Nepal. Rafting packages of Votekosi and Trisuli are appropriate for those who want to spend some good time for a few days.
culture and identity of a nation or community is deeply embedded in its craft and lifestyle. In this, specialized craft producers are major actors. Besides specialized skills and uniqueness, time adds value to such crafts. In this film, we explore two such specialized crafts, one in Kathmandu and the other in Niigata, that have played significant role in elevating their respective national culture and identity in the world's fair. The capital of Nepal, Kathmandu, is a spectacular blend of natural beauty and culture. Habitat to about 2.5 million people, the city holds a rich cultural history that dates back to the ancient times. The 7 UNESCO World Heritage Sites it encompasses are evident to the fact. Swayambhunath, Bodhanath, Pashupatinath temple premises, Changunarayan temple area, as well as the 3 Darbar squares of Kathmandu, Patan and Bhaktapur enlisted in the UNESCO Cultural World Heritage Site are not only a glimpse of its civilization, but Nepalese treasured pride. The civilization of Kathmandu that lies 1400 meters above the sea level seemingly holds a close connection with copper products since time immemorial. Historical text has it that Kathmandu in ancient time was referred to as Nepal. Sanskrit lexicographers have a synonym of tamra or copper as Nepaliklam and Nepalam. Hence, the origin of the name Nepal is assumed to have been derived from the Sanskrit word copper. In Nepal, copper has been a basic raw material to a wide range of art and crafts, including in sculpture, architecture, detail and housewares making. Thus, it has over time been an integral part of Nepali civilization and lifestyle.
इस्वीको सुरुदेखि चाहिँ ताम्र को टुक्राहरूको व्यवहारबाट चाहिँ यसको चलनचल्ती भएको बुझिन्छ। त्यसपछि चाहिँ 6औं शताब्दीमा आएर चाहिँ यसबाट चाहिँ मुद्रा बनाउने चलन आयो। तिस्टुङको भटुवाल र पाल्चोक भन्ने दुई ठाउँमा अंशवर्माले राखेको अभिलेखमा चाहिँ यो ताम्रभाण्ड तामाका भाँडाहरू चाहिँ सरकारको स्वीकृति बिना बाहिर लानु हुँदैन भन्ने उल्लेख आएको छ। भेन्साङ चाहिँ भारतमा आएर भारतबाट चाहिँ नेपाल भएर चाहिँ चीन फर्केको बुझिन्छ। त्यो चाहिँ 643-44 ईस्वी सम्बततिर आएको बुझिन्छ। त्यो जुन कैलाशकूट भवन छ त्यो कैलाशकूट भवनबारे भेन्साङले एकदमै राम्रो चाहिँ उल्लेख गरेको छ कि यो 7 तलाको थियो। यसको चाहिँ छाना चाहिँ तामाको थियो। यसको चाहिँ नेपालमा चाहिँ तामाको पैसा चाहिँ चल्तीमा छ। यहाँका मानिसहरूले भाँडाकुँडाहरू तामाको चलाउँछ। यी कुराहरू उल्लेख गरेको छ जुन चाहिँ चाइनाको टाङ वृत्तान्तमा अथवा इतिहासमा उल्लेख गरिएको छ।
The earliest known Ripause image is Garudasana Vishnu, dated 607 CE from Changunarayan temple in Bhaktapur. Some historical metal idols of the 6th and 7th century are remaining in private possession or in museum collections abroad. A significant consideration as evidence of copper metal craft are the idols dating back to the 11th century excavated in Makwanpur, which is a district adjoining Kathmandu. At the moment, these rare valuables are safely harbored at the Patan Darbar Square Museum. Among the 3 cities of Kathmandu Valley, Patan is comparatively popular for copper craft. Hundreds of families, especially the Newars, who are natives of this cultural city, have been preserving their ancestral legacy of manufacturing copperwares and artifacts for generations now. In Nepal, copper artifacts are made mainly through 2 techniques, either by lost waxing or repousse, which is a technique of pounding metal sheets. The Malla period between 1200 to 1482 is considered a golden era in terms of metalcraft in Nepal. An array of work dazzling in its quantity and quality was produced then, much of which survives. The popularity of Nepali artisans had reached far and wide. It was in this period that Araniko, the famous artisan, was taken to Tibet. In 1265, Emperor Kublai Khan of China, impressed with Araniko's work, invited him to the capital and got him to renovate the artifacts in the monastery there, dating back to the Song period. In 1274, Emperor Khan appointed Araniko the director of the court artisans in China. To date, artists in hundreds are committed to continue the legacy of copper craft in Nepal. Among them, some are successfully effortful to simultaneously take ahead promotion and expansion of the craft. Among such names is Rajkumar Shakya, renowned for his crafts and entrepreneurship. Shakya was born on 1966 in Patan in a family of metal craftsmen.
हाम्रो पुर्खौली अब बाजे बराजु देखि नै यही काममा लाग्नु भएको बुवाले काम गर्नु भएको जासलमा बसेर बुवासँगै बसेर खेल्दै सिक्दै काम गर्दै गर्दै परम्परागत तरिकाले नै सिकेको मैले सानो बेला सिक्दाखेरि त्यति बजार पनि थिएन यो कलाको अहिले आउँदाखेरि यो कलाको चाहिँ बजार पनि अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय जगतमा फैलिँदै गयो यसको चाहिँ उत्पादनमा पनि वृद्धि गर्नुपर्ने देखियो
Shakya's works have made a niche both in the national and international market. Passion, focus, devotion and search for new ideas is what has elevated Shakya's profile as compared to other artists. The incomparable expression of skill and creation of beauty are reflected in his works, which are beyond imagination for any ordinary artists. His widely acclaimed works of craft have been placed at various countries, with Japan, Vietnam, China, Thailand harboring his significant works. The latest is the 155 feet tall idol of Guru Padmasambhav in Bhutan. Based on repousse, pounded sheets of copper were wrapped around iron skeleton which was built using modern architecture. Supervised by Shakya, it took 4 years for 57 artisans to complete the idol.
2000 एक्सपो मा जर्मनमा मैले सबभन्दा ठुलो स्वयम्भूको स्तूपा बनाउने अवसर पाएँ फेरि पछि चाहिँ 2010 मा चाइनामा पनि फेरि एक्सपो वर्ल्ड एक्सपो मा त्यहाँ पनि मैले चाहिँ ठुलो स्तूपा बनाउने र अरु कलाकृतिहरू बनाउने मौका पाएँ त्यसमा चाहिँ अझ मैले चाहिँ हाम्रो हनुमान ढोकाको श्वेत भैरवको मुखाकृति 12 फिटको श्वेत भैरवको मुखाकृति पनि बनाउने अवसर पाएँ। त्यो पनि त्यहाँ अब चाइनामा चाहिँ एक्सपोमा प्रदर्शन गर्न पाएँ। त्यसपछि अनि चाहिँ मैले भुटानमा पद्मसम्भवको मूर्ति बनाउने पनि अवसर पाएँ।
Cultural and anthropological experts have highly evaluated Shakya's efficiency and capabilities.
त्यो 14औं शताब्दीमा जुन परम्परा थियो हाम्रो नेपालबाट अन्य देशमा गएर चाहिँ नि कलाकारहरूले आफ्नो कला प्रस्तुत गर्ने, नेपालको कलाकारितालाई त्यहाँ चाहिँ नि स्थापित गर्ने जुन काम गरेको थियो, त्यसै कामको चाहिँ नि निरन्तरताको रूपमा अहिले हामीले 20औं 21औं शताब्दीमा राजकुमार साकेजीलाई पाएको छौं। यस्तो ठुलो ठुलो ह्युज त्यो मूर्तिहरू बनाउने क्रममा चाहिँ नि त्यो मूर्तिको एउटा स्थानबाट अर्को स्थानमा सार्नु, त्यस्तै गरी त्यसलाई चाहिँ प्रोपोर्सनेट मिलाउने आदि इत्यादि टेक्निकल पनि एकदमै कठिन काम हो। अब यसलाई चाहिँ उहाँले अत्यन्तै माइन्युटली चाहिँ गर्नु हुँदो रहेछ।
To reach Shakya's stature, however, takes a lot of dedication, devotion, practice and patience. Thus, not many youth look keen in pursuing with the profession. Keeping this in mind, Shakya also conducts classes for the younger generation in a bid to hand it over to them. Most interestingly, Shakya's son is also one of his pupils and has already joined him in his business.
हेरिटेजमा नेपालको एकदम टुरिस्टहरु पनि एकदम आकर्षित भयो हेरिटेजमा हैन, त्यही भएर अब बुवा पनि यसमै लाग्नुभयो। त्यही पनि मैले नि यसमै गरौँ कि जस्तो मलाई लाग्यो। बुवा यति आर्टिस्ट भएर पनि अब मेरोमा पनि धेरै एक्सपेक्टेसन गर्छन् होला अरूले पनि, त्यही भएर अब सिक्न काम गाह्रो पनि छ, सिक्न अब टाइम पनि लाग्नेछ, धेरै सिक्न पनि त बाँकी छ।
Such noble endeavors, complemented by the engagement of the younger generation, have indeed sparked a hope that the prosperous tradition will be kept alive. For those involved in copper kitchenwares and housewares, the biggest emerging threat is the modern wares, which are both attractive and cheaper. In a bid to preserve their profession, they have now attempted to add diversity to their products based on the demand of the changing times. Meanwhile, there are others like Kalyan Krishna Tamrakar, who, although remaining in the trade, have embraced newer productions based on market needs. Tamrakar has been manufacturing artistic utensils along with internationally acclaimed singing bowls, which are mostly used in meditational purposes.
करीब 28 वर्ष भयो सिंगिङ बोल्स, नयाँ सिंगिङ बोल्स बनाउने र त्यसमा अलिकति थेरापिक युजको लागि बनाएको सायद नेपालमा पहिलो नै मैले बनाए होला। एउटा फिलोसफी हो र जहाँसम्म युटेन्सिल्स मैले बनाउने सन्दर्भमा पहिला यो धेरै पहिलाहरू बन्थ्यो र पछि बिस्तारै यो ब्रोन्जको युटेन्सिल्सहरू लोप हुँदै गयो। अनि यो बनाउनु पाएको हुन्छ कि भनेर अनि हामीले यसलाई फेरि बनाउन थालिएको।
The market for singing bowls is mostly Europe and is used in intensive research and meditation. The sound created from the balls vary based on the utensil itself and is proven effective for improving blood circulation and hence is used in therapy as well. Tamrakar, whose forefathers had been copper craftsmen by profession, has justifiably promoted their knowledge and skills in the wider market through entrepreneurship. Majority of his buyers are from Germany and Japan.
やはり他で買いが利かないのと、さらにその日本の求める品質にネパールの人たちが合わせてものを作ってくれるからと思います。
私のユーザーは心を癒すそういったツールを大変求めているユーザーが多いです。例えばアロマセラピーの方でヨガの方、そういった方たちの要望に応えるためにネパールから輸入しようと思いました。そうすると残ってる手作りは大変高い、ほとんどアーティストのレベルしか残りなくなります。 一般の方が使う商品はもう今やネパールでないとできないのが現状だと思っています。ですから私たちのユーザーはそれを望んでますから、今私もネパールから大変たくさんの量を輸入しています。
In the Yahikoyama terrain drained by Shinano River lies Niigata city. Rice farming is predominant owing to the rich soil deposit which makes it ideal for agriculture. Besides, it is also renowned for the high-quality copper mines. During the Meiji period, copper mining flourished in the foothills. Adorned in tulip blooms, the designated city of food and flowers does not rest even amidst thick blankets of snow. Tsubame in Niigata is a city of metal craft and craftsmen that have thrived through prosperity and tumultuous times. At the beginning of the 1600s, lot of artisans came to exist in the Tsubame Sanjo area, driven by the local administration's policy of encouraging side business. Thus originated the metal processing industry from the making of Japanese-style nails known as wakugi. The first artisans also produced household items including agricultural tools, kitchenwares and tobacco pipes. Once Japan started importing Western-style nails, the number of artisans gradually started decreasing. During the Second World War until 1945, the factories in the local area had to be mobilized to produce military goods. The 1950s was a time of mass production and mass consumption in Japan. Thus, metal processing companies grew multifold in number and size. Following the Plaza Accord that largely intervened currency markets, the factories gradually lost their business to their overseas competitors. They did not have as many orders as they once had. As a result, the local business temporarily but sharply declined.
今、燕市で追記銅器というふうに言われている、器といいますか、ものがありますけれども、それは一般的に金工でいう金属を加工する技術の中の単金と言われるものの一つでして、それを全国的に同じような技法はたくさんあるんですけれども、燕市ではそれを追記銅器と呼んでいる。燕市の追記銅器というのは伝統工芸技術としても県の指定にもなっておりますし、伝統工芸品としても指定されていますが、燕市の中ではだいたい今から250年くらい前の江戸時代の後期にその技術が仙台の方から来た職人によって伝わったと言われています。
Kakuhei Tamagawa also learned the technique from the craftsman and hence founded Gyokusendo in 1816. Since then, about 300 artisans have kept alive the traditional skills. The company is currently a leader in Niigata to preserve and expand the treasured tradition of tsukidoki. It is said during the Second World War, when weapons and arms mass production had peaked, the tsukidoki industry nearly disappeared owing to shortages of copper. It was Gyokusendo's then leadership that brought back the craftsmen dispersed across the country, that helped in the revival of the industry. Gyokusendo celebrates its 200th anniversary in 2016. Today, its outlets are spread in top-notch departmental stores in high-end streets of Japan and overseas. Motoyuki Tamagawa is the 7th master of Gyokusendo. Since taking over the company at an early age, he has worked hard to promote his products and company. Tamagawa, who strongly believes in adapting to business management style with time rather than changing age-old skill patterns, introduced the trend of putting his artisans in direct contact with the customers at Gyokusendo's outlets and during exhibitions. This, he believes, not only helps customer understand the skill and hard work required to create an artifact, but also helps the artisans learn the needs and tastes of the changing times.
顔の見える商売をしようと思ったんですよね。でそこで私が考えたのが商社を下ろさずに直接百貨店に行ってでそこで実演販売をして職人がお客様と会話するようなこのビジネスモデルを作ってるんですね。玉泉の方向としては、大量というよりは本当銅器を愛用してくださる方に対してちゃんと説明してちゃんと愛用していただける方を対象としたやっぱり商売をしていきたいと思ってますんで、だからそういうこと職人も、だから職人をどんどん増やすというわけではなくビジネスもどんどん大きくするわけではなくてちゃんと玉泉堂というブランドをね高めていくでお客様のその愛用する顧客満足度もやっぱり高めていくというところがすごく大事だと思ってますね。
At the Gyokusendo factory, about 15 artisans of various ages work hard by the day to improve their skills. Working with Gyokusendo is a dream for many artisans. Gyokusendo recruits one from among hundreds applying every year. For a craftsman, it can take about 20 to 30 years to acquire proficiency to handle a set of techniques all by himself. Each stroke in tsukidoki is made in such a way such that the marks do not overlap. The proficiency of an artisan is observed in a vessel made out of one copper sheet and without any seams. For the younger artisans, it is a matter of a lot of perseverance and patience. Today, all independent tsukidoki artisans in Tsubame were once trained at Gyokusendo. Among them, a prominent name is of an artist par excellence, Master Norio Tamagawa.
今のその木目金イコール木目金っていうのがもう、のりおさんのことなんですけれども、その土台となっているのはやっぱり玉泉堂で修行していた時代の追記銅器という技術が骨幹にあって根元のところにあって、でそこから、亡くなられた師匠のところに、弟子入りをしたりですとかいろんなご苦労修行の中でご苦労されながら、今、世界にも名前を馳せるようになった素晴らしい作品を作られるようになったと思います。
Master Norio Tamagawa is the pride of Niigata and is acclaimed as the living national treasure, Japan. His insurmountable contribution in reviving mokumegane through his outstanding and unique creation is beyond comparison. The Tsubame Industrial History Museum, which is a hub to compile, preserve and exhibit industrial heritages, has set up a separate section to exhibit his works. This meticulously carved artifact harbored at the museum is the master's signature art piece. The masterpiece is a delicately hammered, refined handiwork that, owing to its traditional aura and aesthetic value, has awed art lovers and consumers across the world.
いわゆる就職って言いますか、会社へ入りますね。会社従業員として入って、何年か経った時に少し外の世界も見たいと思って東京へ2年ばかり修行に行ったんです。日本の芸大っていうね、その人たちとの交流もあったんで、その作品、私の場合はずっとほら商品を作ってたわけでしょ。商品じゃない作品作りのペースっていうのをね、 ああ違うもんだなっていうのをつくづく感じましたね。
The master reminisces it took him 11 years before he could call his product a piece of art. As a young artist, he took inspiration from his seniors to aim high and excel bigger dreams.
作品作りには影響ないね。作品の場合はあくまでも個人の欲求のままに作るんですからね。世間が何を求めてるかっていうのはあんまり関係ない。っていうのは力がいる仕事なんでね。もう70過ぎてね、現役っていうのは今まであんまりいなかったんです。だから私は仕方ないからやってるけども、だから夢はないけども、もう作品をいくつ作れるか。
The traditional skill nurtured by newer skills, tools and technology has elevated the 200-year-old technique to a world-class art. Contemporary Sukidoki products include a wide range of aesthetically distinctive housewares and artifacts. Mr. Tatsushi Tamagawa, currently the chief manager at Gyokusendo, is Master Norio Tamagawa's son. He started as an artisan at Gyokusendo. Since then, much has changed. He has seen the changing business landscape, the diversity in products, which he says directly or indirectly determines the mindset and working style of an artisan.
言われたものを、早くきっちり作るっていうのがというものはいい職人だと思うんですけども、最近はプラス、いろいろこういう喋るものとかも今はそういうふうに、いろいろお客様に説明するとかそういうものも含まれて、全てこなしていい職人になるのかなという感じは最近はありますね。
Most fascinatingly, his son Keita, the youngest of the Tamagawas, also works under him at Gyokusendo. At 20, Keita is already an efficient beginner. Initially, driven by his grandfather's success when he joined the company, it was but a prized escape for Keita. But now, Keita is intensively working hard to attain the precision to be a better artist.
そうですね。どちらの方もすごい仕事に対して一生懸命で寡黙なので、そういうところを自分に取り入れられたらいいなとは思ってますね。なんか、僕のお父さんもだんだんおじいちゃんに真似してるっていうか似てきているのでなんかそうですね。おじいちゃんからはやっぱりちょっと仕事がテキパキ早いので、そういうところを見習いたいなとは思いますね。そういうところです。はい。
Since the beginning of human civilization, art has evolved based on culture and vice versa. Nevertheless, the demand of changing times has had a detrimental role to play in its course and form. Whether it is Niigata or Kathmandu, artisans continue to express themselves in their artworks. There is little doubt the modern-day artisans' creativity, aided by modern technology, has not only helped preserve traditional skills, but also contributed to the ascent of human civilization.
During Lichevi period, Changu Narayan was also known as Dola Shikhar, which refers to a mount or hill in the shape of Doli. Gopal Raj Vansavali and the Changu inscription also mention it as Changu, a Newari word that refers to swing like hill. But the evidences show that this particular place was popular as Changu Narayan from the earliest time, and the same name exists in the society till present. This two-storied temple
Government launches 24-hour driving license printing service. 600,000 licenses already dispatched. Nominations filed for chairs of 10 thematic and 2 joint House committees. RSP to support Congress for Public Accounts Committee leadership. Nepal's anti-graft body files case against former Kathmandu Valley Development Authority. Baikaji Tiwari claims illegal assets over 100 100 million rupees. Trump says Israel and Lebanon to begin 10-day ceasefire within hours. Hegseth warns Iranian regime to choose wisely. UN warns of immediate shocks to Asia Pacific as Middle East conflict pushes up living costs. Military escalation could wipe up to $299 billion off. And Bayern Munich knocks Real Madrid out of Champions League in a quarter-final classic. Arsenal beats Sporting 1-0 on aggregate. Hello there, I'm Smriti Singh Tamang. Welcome to NTV World News Hour, coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepal time. Now the news in detail. Nepal government has launched a fast-track system to issue driving license cards within 24 hours, ending delays that previously stretched up to 48 months. Officials say the new system marks a major improvement in public service delivery and efficiency. To clear the backlog, around 600,000 printed license cards have already been dispatched nationwide for distribution. The reform aims to reduce waiting times, ease pressure on service centres and modernize administrative processes through digitization and improved coordination. We will look more onto this in our segment issue of the day later in the bulletin. Rashtriya Swatantra Party RSP has nominated its members for chairpersons of several parliamentary committees in the House of Representatives and decided to support the main opposition Nepali Congress for the Public Accounts Committee. Samiksha Baskota has been picked for the Law, Justice and Human Rights Committee, Ashok Chaudhary for Agriculture, Ashish Gujral for Infrastructure, Akriti Awasthi for Women and Social Affairs, Hari Rakal for State Affairs and Dr. Ojashwi Sherchan for Education, Health and IT Committee. The party also nominated candidates for other committees, including both Narayan Shrestha for the Parliamentary Hearing Committee and Krishnahari Buratoki for the Finance Committee, while appointing new parliamentary leadership and whip positions. We will delve more into this in our segment cover story later in the bulletin. A corruption case has been filed against former Development Commissioner Bhai Kaji Tiwari of Kathmandu Valley Development Authority over alleged illegal assets worth 105.4 million rupees. According to the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority CIAA, an investigation into his income, expenditure and savings revealed accumulation of assets beyond his legitimate sources of income in 34 years of public service. The Commission stated that Tiwari's lawful income amounted to 145.19 million rupees, while his total expenditure and savings were found to be 250.68 million rupees across various headings, indicating substantial unexplained wealth. The CIAA has also named his wife Meena Devi Tiwari and daughter Meera Tiwari as co-defendants in the case, seeking legal action against them as well. The charge sheet has been filed at the special court in Kathmandu. US President Donald Trump says Israeli and Lebanese leaders have agreed a 10-day ceasefire beginning within hours. In a post on Truth Social, he says it will begin at 1700 hours Eastern Standard Time. There's no mention in his statement of Hezbollah, the Iran-backed militant group in Lebanon, with which Israel has been exchanging fire. Meanwhile, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has issued a warning to Iran's military leadership, saying during a Pentagon briefing that they're watching Iran amid heightened tensions in the region. Officials said the restriction applies to all vessels, regardless of nationality, entering or leaving Iranian ports. Asia-Pacific economies are facing immediate shocks from the Middle East conflict, with rising fuel, food and fertilizer prices hitting households across the region. UN Assistant Secretary General Kani Wignarajas said cost pressures are escalating quickly for both consumers and businesses. The report, which covered 36 countries, highlighted the region's heavy reliance on imported energy and critical supply chains, which is amplifying pressure on households, small businesses and government budgets. More than 80% of crude oil and liquefied natural gas (LNG) passing through the Strait of Hormuz is bound for Asia. With the critical shipping route at a near standstill, supply concerns are driving up energy prices, quickly feeding into higher transport, electricity, food and fertilizer costs. And in sports, we have Bayern Munich secured a thrilling 4-3 victory over Real Madrid in a tense and dramatic Champions League quarter-final match that also saw the Spanish giants reduced to 9 men after receiving 3 red cards. The high-intensity encounter ended with Bayern edging past Madrid in a closely contested battle. In another fixture, Arsenal and Sporting played out a cautious and evenly matched game, with both sides failing to break the deadlock as the match ended goalless at full time. However, Arsenal advanced to the semi-finals based on 1-0 aggregate victory. The quarter-finals second legs have concluded with 2 other teams, PSG and Atletico Madrid, joining the semi-final lineup as the competition moves closer to the final in Budapest. After years of delays stretching up to 4 years, Nepal has begun issuing driving license cards within just 24 hours, a dramatic shift in public service delivery. With hundreds of thousands of licenses already printed and dispatched, the government says a long-standing backlog is finally being cleared. More on this in our issue of the day after this break. You're watching NTV World and this is the News Hour. Now we turn into our issue of the day. It may seem surprising to service seekers who have waited up to 48 months for a single driving license card to hear that they can now receive it within 24 hours. Breaking through these astonishing old patterns, the government has started the work of printing licenses within 24 hours starting today and has already dispatched 600,000 of those printed licenses to the respective offices. Sabika Shrestha delves deeper.
The hassle of waiting years to receive a driving license, whether after passing the exam or paying the fees for renewal, is now coming to an end. Implementing a new system from mid-April, the government has announced that it will print and provide the service seeker's license within 24 hours of passing the exam and submitting the revenue. With this announcement, the compulsion to repeatedly peek through the windows of transport offices to ask, "Is my license ready?" after paying years ago is set to disappear. However, this facility is only for printing of new licenses.
12 लाख वटाको चाहिँ लगभग त्यो डेटा चाहिँ हामीले सुरक्षा मुद्रण केन्द्रमा पठाइ पनि सकेका छौं। उहाँबाट कति 5-6 लाख वटा कतिवटा पनि सायद प्रिन्ट भएर आइसकेको छ। र त्यो आइसकेको सरचालक अनुमति पत्रहरू गुलाक मार्फत सम्बन्धित कार्यालयमा हामीले पठाएका छौं। जस्तो यहाँनिर चाहिँ जुम्लाको हामी सकेका छौं, काभ्रे बनेपा भयो, सुर्खेत भयो, त्यसपछि पूर्वका कार्यालयहरुको हामी अलमोस्ट सकेका छौं। काठमाडौँ भित्रको पनि हामीले चाबहिल, ठुलो भड्याङका सकेका छौं। अनि त्यसपछि राधेको आज सबै सकेर हामीले सम्बन्धित कार्यालयमा पठाउने व्यवस्था गर्दै छौं।
The department stated that the process of printing licenses within 24 hours of paying revenue was initiated on April 15. The service will be as fast as the data is received from transport offices across the country. There is a plan to collect details from 42 transport offices nationwide every evening by 5 p.m. and send them to the Security Printing Center for print by 6 p.m. How fast the service remains will be determined by the coordination between the provincial transport offices and the federal department. Although it was mentioned that licenses would be delivered to the service seeker homes via post in the future, for now this service is being provided through the respective transport offices.
यो 2-4 हप्तामा चाहिँ घर-घरमा पुग्ने व्यवस्था नै भइदियो भने चाहिँ राम्रो हुन्थ्यो सर्वसाधारणलाई पनि। अहिले त अब हजुरको यो विगत 3-4 वर्षदेखिको नै पेन्डिङ छ लाइसेन्स हैन पहिला त्यो आउनु पर्यो र त्यो आइसकेपछि चाहिँ अलि विश्वास हुन्छ कि जस्तो लाग्यो मलाई चाहिँ
24 घण्टा भन्छ भित्र भनेको छ अब हेरौँ कस्तो के हुन्छ त्यही बुझ्नलाई आएको म पनि यहाँ अहिलेसम्म कार्तिकदेखि अहिलेसम्म पाइएको छैन
On one hand is the government's announcement. Whether it remains just an announcement or is seen in practice remains to be seen. There is no certainty yet as to when the printing of the 1.7 million licenses piled up since July 2022 will begin.
हामी 1-2 दिनभित्र सुरक्षा मुद्रण केन्द्रसँग सम्झौता गरेर ती बाँकी 17 लाखवटा सवारी चालक अनुमति पत्रहरू पनि हामीले छपाई गर्ने प्रक्रियामा जान्छौँ तिनीहरू चाहिँ हामीले सम्बन्धित कार्यालयमा पठाउँछौँ र बाँकी अब इमर्जेन्सी र दैनिक रूपमा चाहिँ त्यसपछि यो ब्याकलग हटिसकेपछि त नियमित तर्फको त कम हुन्छ हैन संख्या पनि कम हुन्छ त्यसपछि चाहिँ हामीले हुलाकमा पठाउने अथवा कसरी गर्ने भनेर चाहिँ हामी थप छलफल गरेर अगाडि बढ्न सक्छौँ
Those licenses are nearing their next renewal time before even reaching the hands of the service seekers. According to the current agreement to print 1.2 million units, 6 lakh have been printed, among which 5 lakh have already been dispatched to the respective offices. Sabika Shrestha with camera person Pradyumna Dhungel reporting for NTV World.
In this context, we asked the general public, can the 24-hour license service be delivered as promised? Let's hear what they have to say in today's Public Pulse segment.
त्यो एकदम राम्रो हो नि हैन त्यो त स्वागत योग्य निर्णय नै हो अब 5 वर्षमा पनि नआउने लाइसेन्स चाहिँ एक घण्टामा आउनु भनेको त त्यो हामीले कल्पनै नगरेको कुरा भएको छ
सरकारको सराहनीय निर्णय हो अब यो यसमा अलिकति अब विश्वास हुने पनि ठाउँ छ किनभने अहिले जुन टिम आउनु भएको छ नि नेपाल सरकारको जुन टिम छ त्यो टिमको यो चुस्त र दुरुस्तपूर्ण कार्य देखिएकोले विश्वास गर्ने ठाउँ छ
प्रिन्ट गर्ने काम थियो नि लाइसेन्स अहिले चाहिँ एकदमै दिनमै कति धेरै गरिरहेछ भन्ने न्युजहरू देखिरहेछौँ त्यो अनुसारले हुने भने त हुन्छ नि हैन अब पहिला त कति वर्षदेखिको त्यो पेन्डिङ रहिरहेको थियो हैन अब अहिले चाहिँ दिनमै कति धेरै त्यो प्रिन्ट गर्ने कामहरू एकदमै फास्ट भइरहेको थियो अब त्यस्तै भयो भने त पाउन त सकिहाल्छ नि अब पहिलाको जस्तो त अब कति वर्ष 3-4 वर्षसम्म प्रिन्टै भइरहेको थिएन अहिले दिनमै कति हजार प्रिन्ट भइरहेको हामी सुनिरहेछौँ
त्यो सबैको लागि एकदम राहत महसुस भएको छ यस्ता रचनात्मक कार्यहरू गर्दै जानुपर्छ यो जनताले असाध्यै राम्रो महसुस गरेका छन् यो असाध्यै राम्रो काम हो यसको सराहनीय गर्नुपर्छ हामीले यसको स्वागत गर्नुपर्छ
दरखास्त दिने बित्तिकै लाइसेन्स हातमा पर्छ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ हैन दरखास्त दिनुभयो तपाईले ट्रायल पास गर्नुभयो तपाई जाँचमा पास हुनुभयो भनेपछि चाहिँ तपाईको लाइसेन्स 24 घण्टा भित्र तपाईको हातमा पुग्छ
वर्षौं कुर्नु पर्थ्यो त्यो माथि फेरि बिचौलियाहरू हुन्थे हैन अहिले त्यसले गर्दाखेरि अब हामीले जस्तै लाइसेन्सको लागि चाहिँ आज गएर हामीले उ गर्यौं हैन तुरुन्त प्रिन्ट भएर घरमा आउनु पनि राम्रो कुरो हो नि
नयाँ सरकार छ हैन नयाँ सबै जोस जागर छ सबै पढेको बुद्धिजीवी मान्छेहरू छन् हैन अहिले टेक्नोलोजीको जमाना आयो जहाँसम्म लाग्छ हुन्छ अब त्यो भन्दा पनि अर्को के छ भने उहाँ सरकारले हामीलाई चाहिँ पहाडी जिल्लाहरुमा चाहिँ झन् अझ लाइसेन्स बनाउने चाहिँ व्यवस्था गर्दै भन्छ राम्रो हुन्थ्यो हैन किन पहाडबाट चाहिँ जो सुदूरपश्चिमकै कुरा गरौँ दार्चुलादेखि लाइसेन्स बनाउन धनगढी आउनुपर्छ झन्डै ट्याक्कै हजुरको चाहिँ 2000 रुपैयाँ आउन 2000 रुपैयाँ जान बास बस्न 4-5 हजार गरेर 8-10-15 हजार रुपैयाँ चाहिँ अपडाउनमै खर्च हुन्छ
कुनै पनि सरकारले गर्न नसकेको काम अहिलेका सरकारले गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ र यो टिमलाई पनि धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद छ यस्तै काम अगाडि दिनमा पनि हुँदै जाओस् र हामीले अपेक्षा र इच्छा हाम्रो राखेका छौं यो सफल होला
This wraps up our issue of the day. On to the next segment now. Nepal's Rashtriya Swatantra Party has nominated candidates to lead several key parliamentary committees as the House finalizes its structure. The party is also backing the opposition Nepali Congress for the influential Public Accounts Committee, signalling a strategic power-sharing approach. More on this in our cover story of the day after this break. And now we're turning to our cover story of the day. Nepal is moving ahead with the formation of parliamentary committee leadership, with most positions seeing uncontested nominations. The process also includes placing opposition Nepali Congress to lead a key oversight House panel. Siksha Patrai brings more.
Nepal's parliamentary committee leadership is taking shape, with the ruling Rashtriya Swatantra Party consolidating its influence across most key bodies in the federal legislature. Out of 12 committees currently undergoing leadership selection, 10 have seen chairperson candidates go unopposed, underscoring the party's dominant position in the House of Representatives of Nepal. The RSP has fielded candidates for 11 committee chair positions. However, in a significant gesture towards parliamentary balance, it has backed the main opposition, the Nepali Congress, to lead the Public Accounts Committee. The Public Accounts Committee is a powerful body responsible for overseeing government spending and ensuring fiscal accountability. Following that support, Nepali Congress lawmaker Bharat Bahadur Khadka has filed his nomination for the role, with broader backing from opposition parties, effectively securing his position. Most other committees have seen only a single candidate, largely from ruling party, making their appointments uncontested. The only notable contest is in the Education, Health and Information Technology Committee, where candidates from the RSP and the CP and UML are competing. Key nominations from the ruling party include figures such as Harikrishna Buratoki for the Finance Committee and Subnima Udas for International Relations and Tourism, among others. In joint parliamentary structures, nominations have also been filed for oversight bodies, including the Parliamentary Hearing Committee and a committee responsible for monitoring the implementation of state policies and directive principles. Nepal's Federal Parliament of Nepal consists of 16 committees in total. Of these, 10 fall under the House of Representatives, 4 under the National Assembly, and 2 are joint committees. Elections for the chairperson of the National Assembly's 4 thematic committees have already been completed. Meanwhile, elections for the remaining 10 House committees and the 2 joint committees are scheduled to take place on Friday.
And that concludes our cover story. Now the remaining updates. Nepal's Prime Minister Balendra Shah has held discussions with the chief ministers of all 7 provinces, marking his first such meeting since assuming office. The talks focused on strengthening federal-provincial coordination, accelerating development and construction projects, ensuring equitable distribution of resources, and addressing various administrative and financial challenges faced by the provinces. Enhancing cooperation between the central government and provinces to effectively implement nationally prioritized projects also remained a key agenda. According to the Prime Minister's office, the meeting aimed to build a shared understanding on the country's current economic situation, infrastructure development, improvement in public service delivery, and the promotion of good governance. Time magazine has included Nepal's Prime Minister Balendra Shah in its list of the 100 most influential people for 2026. The magazine describes the 35-year-old Shah as a former hip-hop artist who rose to become Nepal's youngest Prime Minister, highlighting his journey and portraying him as a figure bringing a new wave to South Asian politics. According to the magazine, Shah's rise is the result of strong support from the younger generation and growing dissatisfaction with traditional political parties and structures. Referring to his tenure as mayor of Kathmandu Metropolitan City, KMC, the magazine highlights his efforts in the waste management, education and health sectors. It also notes the expectations for effective leadership placed on him by the Nepali public following his assumption of the Prime Minister's office. Nepal's opposition parties represented in the House of Representatives have stressed that Parliament should be conducted in line with established parliamentary practices. In a meeting held at Singhadarbar with Speaker Dol Prasad Aryal following a joint discussion between Nepali Congress, CPN, UML and Nepali Communist Party's opposition lawmakers urged that parliamentary proceedings be guided by tradition, including the practice of allocating the chairpersonship of the Public Accounts Committee to the main opposition party. After the meeting, NCP's Chief Whip Yuvraj Dulal said the parties had called for adherence to established parliamentary norms and continuity of past practices, including broader consultation in parliamentary procedures. The meeting was attended by Nepali Congress leaders Arjun Narsingh Kesi, Bharat Khadka, Vishmaraj Angdembe and Yog Gautam, CPN-UML leaders Guru Baral and Padmaryal, and NCP leaders Barshaman Pun and Yugaraj Dulal. Nepal's Supreme Court has ordered the release of former Energy Minister and Nepali Congress leader Deepak Khadka, who had been arrested in connection with a money laundering investigation. Khadka was taken into custody 29th March for investigation purposes. His wife Benita Thapa had filed a habeas corpus petition seeking his release. A bench of Justices Sapna Pradhan Malla and Shrikant Paudel issued the order for his release after hearing the petition. The court's order also states that Khadka must obtain prior permission before travelling abroad. Tourist arrivals are surging in Nepal's Dolkha district, particularly in the religious and scenic destinations of Soilung and Kalinchok, highlighting the country's growing appeal as a mountain tourism hub. The influx has been especially strong during major holidays such as the Nepali New Year, when thousands of visitors travel to these high-altitude sites for both pilgrimage and leisure. Local hotel operators estimate that around 50,000 tourists visited Soilung alone on New Year's Day, underscoring a sharp seasonal spike in domestic travel. Soilung, situated at an elevation of 3,137 meters and known for its rolling hills and panoramic Himalayan views, is increasingly attracting both Nepali and international tourists. Officials and businesses say the rising footfall reflects a broader post-pandemic recovery in Nepal's tourism sector, though it also raises concerns about infrastructure and environmental sustainability in fragile mountain regions. Following the conclusion of the third Red Panda Festival, Ilam Sandakpur has officially been branded as a major international hub for Red Panda tourism. This strategic shift aims to revitalize Eastern Nepal's economy by leveraging the region's unique biodiversity to attract global travelers. Suveksha Rajak with local correspondent Sujan Timsina from Ilam brings more.
Nepal's eastern district, Ilam, has officially expanded its tourism portfolio beyond the traditional sectors of tea and sunrises. With the conclusion of the third Red Panda Festival, local authorities have formally established Red Panda Tourism as a district brand in Sandakpur. This move marks a significant shift in the economic strategy of Kosi province, focusing on high-value wildlife conservation as a primary revenue stream. The red panda is an endangered species characterized by its distinctive reddish-brown fur and a long shaggy tail. Nepal's high-altitude forests provide a critical habitat for this elusive mammal, which serves as a biological indicator for the health of the Himalayan ecosystem. Globally, the species is admired for its unique evolutionary lineage, being the only living member of its taxonomic family, making Sandakpur a high-priority destination for international researchers and eco-tourists. The third Red Panda Festival has officially established this species as a formal tourism brand for Eastern Nepal. Local leaders and international experts, including Indian entrepreneur Biswajit Shah, notes that this isn't just about a festival, it's about a sustainable future for the entire Koshi province.
Red Panda conservation एउटा कन्सेप्ट छ योलाई लिएर अगाडि बढ्नु एक दिन यो मतलब फेस्टिभल पनि यो ठाउँ पनि एकदम दुनियाको मान्छेहरुमा आइहाल्छ.
Sandakpur's proximity to India's Singalila National Park creates a unique transboundary biodiversity corridor. Local tourism entrepreneur Saiva Rana reports that the area is now recognized globally as a premier site for observing these animals in their natural environment.
विश्वमै रेड पान्डा हेर्ने one of the best place चाहिँ हाम्रो यही इलाम हाम्रो सन्दकपुरै हो.
Beyond the red panda, the region sports hundreds of bird species, making it a critical hub for scientific study and specialized wildlife tourism. The economic impact is already visible. Sandakpur 2-ward chairman Sanam Rai confirms a shift in logistics, with international tourists increasingly opting for Nepali routes through Kakarbita and Pashupatinagar rather than Indian infrastructure. This increase in foot traffic follows a 3-year trend of rising visitor numbers, especially seeking out the red panda. Sandakpur Rural Municipality has committed to a 10-year plan to sustain this branding through annual festivals and conservation-led promotion. The objective is to reverse the decline of forest-based tourism in eastern Nepal while providing a sustainable income model for the local population. Suveksha Rajak with local correspondent Susan Timsina reporting for NTV World.
The autobiography of veteran Nepali mountaineer Kami Rita Sherpa, titled Sagarmathama Chapaila, meaning 6 steps on the Everest, has been launched in Kathmandu today. Sherpa, who was born in a modest family in Nepal's Okhaldunga district, first summited Mount Everest, the world's highest peak, at the age of 23. In addition to his climbing career, he also worked as a mountain tourism correspondent for Nepal Television, highlighting expeditions from the Himalayas. In 2007, Sherpa climbed Everest as part of the Lions Nepal Television expedition, during which he hoisted a Nepal Television flag at the summit, marking a symbolic moment in the country's media and mountaineering history. To more international updates, but before that, let's have a recap of top stories. Government launches 24-hour driving license printing service, 600,000 licenses already dispatched. Nominations filed for chairs of 10 thematic and 2 joint House committees. RSP to support Congress for Public Accounts Committee leadership. Nepal's anti-graft body files case against former Kathmandu Valley Development Authority. Tiwari claims illegal assets over 100 million rupees detected. Trump says Israel and Lebanon to begin 10-day ceasefire within hours. Hexen warns Iranian regime to choose wisely. UN warns of immediate shocks to Asia-Pacific as Middle East conflict pushes up living costs. Military escalation likely to wipe up $299 billion off regional GDP. And Bayern Munich knocks Real Madrid out of Champions League in a quarter-final classic. Arsenal beats Sporting 1-0 on aggregate. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has arrived at Doha as part of his 4-day official visit amid heightened diplomatic activity ahead of a possible second round of US-Iran peace talks. Upon his arrival, Sharif held talks with Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. The visit comes as Pakistan continues its efforts to engage regional partners in support of ongoing mediation initiatives aimed at facilitating dialogue between Washington and Tehran. The meeting also comes days after US and Iranian delegations held talks in Islamabad that failed to secure a permanent end to the war, now under a temporary ceasefire. Elsewhere, Pakistan's Army Chief Asim Munir held a meeting with Iran's Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf after Pakistani mediators traveled to Iran to press efforts to end the war with the United States and Israel. Russia launched more than 700 drones and missiles at Ukraine in multiple waves overnight, killing at least 17 people in what local officials said was the deadliest attack in months. The officials said 9 people were killed in the southern port city of Odessa, 4 including a child in the capital Kiev, and another 4 in the central city of Dnipro. In Russia, 2 people including a child were killed in a Ukrainian drone attack in the southern Krasnodar region. This comes after a brief ceasefire took place over Orthodox Easter at the weekend, but both sides accused one another of hundreds of violations. Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Pope Leo XIV calls for a decisive change of course towards peace in a world which he says is ravaged by a handful of tyrants. His remarks came during an address at St. Joseph Cathedral in the city of Bamenda in Cameroon's troubled northwest region.
I am grateful for your words of welcome because it is true. I am here to proclaim peace. Yet I find it is you who are proclaiming peace to me and to the entire world. We must make a decisive change of course, a true conversion that will lead us in the opposite direction onto a sustainable path rich in human fraternity. The world is being ravaged by a handful of tyrants, yet is held together by a multitude of supportive brothers and sisters.
Blossoms of over 3,000 cherry trees are in full bloom in a village near the site of the 2011 nuclear disaster. Residents of Litate village were forced to evacuate their homes after a tsunami triggered by a massive earthquake in March that year caused a triple meltdown at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. A couple in the village had begun planting the trees before the disaster, aiming to create the best cherry blossom spot in the village. After they returned to the village, they resumed planting the trees, which they saw as a symbol of reconstruction, seeking to create a place where people can gather once again. The flowers, which came into bloom over the weekend, were at their best on Wednesday. Residents from nearby areas have been flocking to the site to stroll under the delicate pink blossoms and take photos. Turkey's Lake Van, the world's largest saline soda lake, is making headlines as its majestic microbialites, often called underwater chimneys or lake corals, move on step closer to the Guinness World Records. Standing at heights of up to 40 meters, these biological structures have formed over thousands of years deep within the lake. The application to recognize them as the world's largest microbialites has successfully passed the preliminary round of the Guinness selection process. Following 3 months of intensive research and preparation, the application was submitted and quickly cleared the initial hurdle. If officially certified, this will mark Van's second appearance in the Guinness World Records, following its record-breaking Van breakfast. A final decision expected within the next 2 to 3 months, potentially turning this hidden treasure of Lake Van into a globally recognized tourism landmark. Business updates coming up next after the short break.
Japan's Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi has announced a $10 billion support package to strengthen Asia's energy security and safeguard vital petroleum-based medical supplies. Speaking Wednesday as chair of the Asia Zero Emission Community Plus Summit, Takaichi unveiled the new framework, Power Asia. It will channel financial aid through Japan Bank for International Cooperation to help countries procure crude oil, expand stockpiles, and adopt Japan's reserve systems. The initiative comes amid rising tensions between the United States and Iran over navigation in the Strait of Hormuz, a key artery for global energy flows. Leaders at the summit agreed Asia's economies are deeply interconnected and stressed the importance of joint efforts to secure supply chains and guarantee safe passage of vessels. China's economy grew faster than expected in the first 3 months of the year, even as countries around the world feel the impact of the US-Israel war with Iran. Gross domestic product GDP rose by 5% in the period compared to a year earlier, according to official data. Economists had expected the figure to come in at around 4.8%. That came despite the conflict in the Middle East, which started on 28 February, severely disrupting global energy supplies, with Asian countries hit particularly hard. It also marks the first release of the official GDP figures since Beijing cut its annual economic growth target last month to a range of 4.5% to 5%, its lowest expansion goal since 1991. The rebound from a weaker expansion of 4.5% in the previous quarter was driven by manufacturing, while the world's second largest economy continues to be weighed down by falling property investment. The Kremlin has downplayed Washington's decision not to extend a sanctions waiver on Russia's seaborne oil exports. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the waiver, introduced last month to ease global energy markets during the Middle East war, will now expire. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said Russia has long adapted to sanctions and will minimize the impact. Oil prices have surged since Iran effectively closed the Strait of Hormuz, squeezing global supply.
И мы научились уже действовать таким образом, чтобы минимизировать для наших интересов последствия таких мер. Будем так делать и дальше.
Despite restrictions, Russia nearly doubled its oil export revenues in March to $19 billion.
Now the sports update. Lionel Messi has bought Catalan club Cornellà and become the team's new owner, the Spanish fifth-tier side announced on Thursday. The 8-time Ballon d'Or winner is still playing in the United States for Inter Miami and is expected to play a key role in Argentina's World Cup title defense this year. The club in a statement confirmed the former Barcelona star's acquisition, adding this move reinforces Messi's close ties to Barcelona and his commitment to the development of sport and local talent in Catalonia. Several top players have come through the ranks at Cornellà, based in the Barcelona suburbs, including Arsenal goalkeeper David Raya and Messi's former Barca teammate Jordi Alba. Cornellà, however, have suffered back-to-back relegations in the past 2 seasons. The French Open has announced a 9.5% increase in total prize money for its 2026 edition, raising the overall purse to $72.7 million. Organizers said the increase reflects continued efforts to improve earnings across all rounds, with a focus on supporting early round players as well as top performers. The rise highlights mounting pressure on Grand Slams to narrow the earnings gap and address long-standing concerns over prize money distribution in tennis. However, despite the rise, Roland Garros remains behind the other Grand Slams in total prize money. The move comes amid growing calls for more equal revenue distribution across professional tennis tournaments. Former Arsenal goalkeeper Alex Manninger has died in a car accident in Austria at the age of 48. His former club Red Bull Salzburg confirmed the news, saying he died in a traffic accident and extended condolences to his family and friends. Reports from Austria said Manninger's car collided with a train at a level crossing on the Salzburg local railway in Nussdorf am Hansberg on Thursday morning. Arsenal also paid tribute, expressing condolences to his family and describing his death as deeply tragic. Time now for the weather update, first from Nepal and then across the world. almost at the end of our news bulletin, but before wrapping up, here's a look into the top stories this hour. Government launched a 24-hour driving license printing service, 600,000 licenses already dispatched. Nominations filed for chairs of 10 thematic and 2 joint House committees. RSP to support Congress for Public Accounts Committee leadership. Nepal's anti-graft body files case against former Kathmandu Valley Development Authority Vaikaji Tiwari claims illegal assets over 100 million rupees detected. Trump says Israel and Lebanon to begin 10-day ceasefire within hours. Hexen warns Iranian regime to choose wisely. UN warns of immediate shocks to Asia Pacific as Middle East conflict pushes up living costs. Military escalation likely to wipe up to $299 billion off regional GDP. And Bayern Munich knocks Real Madrid out of Champions League in a quarter-final classic. Arsenal beat Sporting 1-0 on aggregate. That's it for this edition of NTV World News Hour. Do join us through our social media and get the latest updates from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. Thank you for staying with us. Good night.